Thursday night, here we go. Got a great show for everybody. Really appreciate everybody being here. Please do tweet it out. Let everybody know that we are live. It's a big news week. Not just some news coming out about future consoles and what's going to be coming your way in either 27 or early 28. We're going to get into that. But some game releases that are coming out next week. A lot of games that came out within this past week and last week that we have to discuss and see how they're doing and see what the audience thinks as well. Shout out real quick to Tool Man. I see you out there. Space, what's up, buddy? Good to see you. Instead of typing hello in the chat, I'm just going to do it verbally. Silver, good to see you. Lady Games, appreciate you. Schoolhouse is here. The OA, you guys are all fantastic. Please hit that like button, guys. I don't say it enough, but please do. Also, to my audio engineers out there, please let me know if the sound is all right. I know the video's looking good right now, but make sure that the sound is just perfect. I don't want anything wrong on this end. I see that YouTube apparently liked me this week. So YouTube has sent out notifications. I just saw one come up. Hopefully you guys got that as well. D, thank you so much, D. Fantastic. 5 gifted memberships to the Mooch Maniac family members. That means the world to me as well. Got a great panel for you guys. You guys can take a look at the dais right now already. And then we've got a fantastic group that are probably going to join us. A few folks will be joining us the second hour. Very excited about getting a chance to talk to some of these guys. Haven't talked to them in years, and I'm very excited to hear what they think about gaming and where things are going as we move forward into 26, 27, and 28. Everything's forecasted out. Without further ado, the great Nib is here. As you guys can see, Nib is here in body, but his mind is playing games. The great Nib is back with us again. Nib, how you doing, buddy? Yes, I can. Mooch has special powers people are unaware of. We'll keep that between us. Yes. I'm not. No, you're not. That's right. That's right. The rules are we only have one rule, Nib. We have one rule, right? So we try to follow that as best as possible. Shout out to Nib. I appreciate you being here, buddy. Can't wait to get your take on games. The great TCMF is with us. You guys know him very well from his YouTube channel. I don't know how he does it. He gets on the microphone and this guy just spews views. I absolutely love having him here. It's an honor to have him on the show. He does his homework. He plays his video games. TC, welcome back to the show, buddy. How you doing tonight? Well, you know, I believe there's a pause button, folks. We'll see if yeah. Never tell Mooch that. That's okay. That's not how this show works. All right. Right. If I hear any cursing in the background, I'll know what's going on. Great to have TC with us. And then the great Fonzarelli is with us. Fonz has not been on the show. You know, Fonz, I think you were saying to me before, you were like, you know, Mooch, I haven't been on the show. I think it's been years. But we definitely had Fonz on the show. And I got to tell you, it was a great show, if I remember right. And I got news for you. I don't got a lot of things, Fonz, but I got a great memory. Okay? It was a fantastic show. Love what you do out there in the community. You've always spewed the truth. Me and you had some great heart-to-hearts while we were gaming a few times back in the day. And I appreciate those conversations. And I said, you know what? I had the great Zucker on with us the past couple of weeks, who's a very good friend of Fonz. And they were talking. They said, you know, he goes, I'm going on Mooch's show. And Fonz is like, I got to get a hold of Mooch again. And I said, well, I'm glad you did, buddy. And what a week to be back on the show. Fonzarella's back with us. Fonz, how you doing tonight, buddy? And it's been way too long. Oh, you know what? Hold on, Fonz. Wait a minute, Fonz. Before you, no one can, for some reason, they're saying they can't hear you. I don't understand why. You are completely not. You guys are not muted. I do not have you guys muted at all, but hold on one second, please. No, it's not you guys. This is there it is. Okay, guys, this is why I have listen, by the way, Fonz, and I want to say it's okay. You guys didn't, we'll recap. We'll recap. This is why I have my audio engineers out there. So what happens is for some reason, even though I have things set to default, you guys are all set now. I believe they can hear you now. Let's do a test here. Fonz, will you give me a test with that great radio voice that you have as well? Yes. They say so they can't hear you guys. And I listen, as much as I love Mooch's voice, okay? I don't want this show to be about me. Okay, let me fix this real quick, guys. Give me 20 seconds. I'm going to go ahead and do this. I know what it was. Again, I'll explain this to the audience. These guys can hear me. You guys can't hear the other panel. What happens is I have this set on OBS to default. And what it does is it always goes to main stereo. So what I'm going to do real quick here is I'm going to walk. Guys, by the way, if anyone wants to podcast, these are some insider tips for you guys. I'm just going to go ahead and I enable the chat again. Give me 2 seconds here, guys. Work with me. And what we do here now is I go in. I'll go ahead and make the chat the default. I will get rid of this one here. I'll disable the main, which you would think main would be the right one. It's not. It's chat. So I apologize, guys. I don't know why it does this every once in a while. It's a damn shame that it did it on such a fantastic start like we had today, too. Okay, Fonz, I'm going to go back to you again here, Fonz. And I know it sounds like, this is almost like what Hollywood would be like, Fonz. Okay, so we're going to do a third take here. And I just want you to, let's try that from the top again. Fonz, great to have you here, buddy. I appreciate it. We are going to talk some games. Could you please test out the audio for me?
Can you hear us? Can you hear me?
Can we hear the great? Well, listen. Who's not going to? Fonz, one of your great fans is in the chat here. The great D Batch is in the chat. So D will let us know if we are
my homie.
Okay. Yes, absolutely. D was just on a few weeks ago, and D went off. Boy, it was great having D here. D, I almost asked you to come on, but I already know what would have happened. D needs at least a month and a half notice. It's tough to get D on here. Okay, there you go. Everyone's hearing everybody again. I want to say I apologize to the great TCMF and Nib, but guess what, guys? They're in the middle. They're pausing their Legends game, so they were busy anyways. It's okay. Things are all right.
Yeah.
Right?
Definitely pausing.
Yes, definitely. Not playing
we would not
the game.
Continue. That is not like us.
No. So let's do this while we're checking our audio, guys, and people say that they can hear us now. Fonz, me and you were having a great conversation before the show, and Nib had said to me about 3 or 4 months ago, he goes, Mooch, you know what I'd love to do in the beginning of the show is talk some games. You had said that you're playing Resident Evil 9, and I wanted you to get a chance to be able to speak your mind on what you think of the game first and foremost. But also, you had some interesting points that you said this reminded you of the earlier years of it and not necessarily the last few. What's your take so far on RE9 before we get into the meat and potatoes tonight?
Yeah, it totally sucks. I wouldn't recommend it. I'm just kidding. Look, I'm late to the party. I just started playing this game just the other night. I wasn't into like the Resident Evil 8 or even Village or even 7. I couldn't get into it. And I'm a more of a fan of the originals. The last one I think I really loved was like Resident Evil 4. Okay. And of course, you got Code Veronica. You've got all the you got the other two. But anyways, I think this one is more like those older titles in the fact that horror, they really nailed it here. It reminds me so much of the first game that we played, the Resident Evil game.
Yes.
The dogs busting out of the window and stuff, and all the jump scares that we'd have in the first Resident Evil. But man, there's so many moments in this game, especially when you're playing as Grace in first person. My God, some of the stuff that happens on screen, just like, especially when I play at like 2:00 in the morning. That can be very, very scary. Very scary.
Oh, me, when I'm playing horror games, it's in the living room, surround sound, lights off, curtains closed. If there's any light outside, that's the only way to play.
It's headphones in my closet studio and dark. Yeah.
That's a recipe for Resident Evil if I have ever heard one. It's funny you say that. So I do think that Resident Evil 9, and guys, I think I told the audience this last week. I'm on literally the final mission, and actually, shout out to Lazy Vibes, shout out to Blaze 4K, real quick plug here. We are going to be on Marathon, of course, Saturday morning, guys. Go over and check out twitch.tv. We're over there doing it every Saturday, Monday, and we're going to add another day real soon.
How are you guys liking a Marathon?
I personally, I'm enjoying it immensely. I love it. But this is also
the server slam.
You did? Did you enjoy it, TC? I couldn't hear you.
I did enjoy, because the thing is, I'm not really into extraction shooters, so I tried Arc Raiders. I didn't really get into Arc Raiders. I enjoyed Marathon more than Arc Raiders. But again, it's like, I'm playing Legends right now. I'm about to play Toxic Commando. Do I have room for Marathon?
Well,
so I don't know how.
That's one of the topics I have. Is there's so many games out there. Multiplayer games take a lot of your time. To answer your question though, I think Marathon. I have 235 hours into Arc Raiders, and I love it. I really do. but I'm not going to lie to you. Like anything else after 200 hours, gets a little long in the tooth. So I am welcoming Marathon. Brings back that first-person shooter aspect. You get the great gun mechanics that Bungie does, right?
Guns, it's like, yeah.
It's spot on. It feels very, very good. It's responsive. They do, listen, it's not perfect. Not going to sit here and absolutely glaze it and say it's fantastic. It's not 100%. There's things they need to do, but if you guys remember, everybody's got short-term memory. Remember, I always say that. Everyone's got short-term memory in the gaming community.
I enjoyed that.
Arc had problems. Arc had problems at the beginning, too. They didn't have a duos. They didn't have, there was things that they had to add, and Bungie still needs to do certain things. They're working on some of the sound. They do need to do that, amongst a few other things. I know solos. I never really play solos. Everyone always says it's more fun with friends. That's a true statement. I never really played solos in Arc, and I don't play solos in Marathon, but I have been talking to people in the community, and they're saying that solos needs a bit of tweaking a bit, and I get that. They're not wrong. The AI, they made a slight adjustment to make it easier, but at the same time, it is not quite 100% yet. They need to fix that.
Oh yeah, they were rough.
It is.
They were rough when I played the service left.
Well, it's not much better now. I know that they just put a patch out and they said that they did that, but a couple people wrote me right away when that patch came out. They're like, listen, I don't know what they did, but they got to turn the dial down a little bit more still. It's still very, very ammo consuming, if you will, and it's an abundance of them that kind of tackle you, and then if you have one other person come up behind you, you get third party basically.
I don't mind the difficulty. They just need more ammo boxes in locations and make it easier for me to find them. Like I don't mind like multiple of us, trying to tackle down and take. They are sponges a bit, but like tackling them down and then figuring it out. Everybody has special abilities. That's also a nice thing about Marathon. But like I feel like it was like very hard for me to find ammo. I was out of ammo and I'm just fucked. Like that was it.
That is a major issue. The other thing is that like look,
they've changed that now though, right?
Well, you mean as far as ammo, scarcity of ammo?
Yeah. So the I don't know if the update is out yet, but I read the.
It is.
Because I made a tweet about it. The latest update adds more ammo crates, adds more health.
Yes.
And also in the free loadouts as well.
But to be fair though, and I understand if you're within your first 5 to 10 rounds or runs, if you will, going out. But the one thing that I started doing in Arc, okay, which I recommend to all you guys in Marathon is, like you have to start to go and grab the resources that are out there so that you can barter in the armory. Because you're not going to have enough coins to buy ammo, but you can barter. And when you do that, then you go down there, you have to at least have 160 light ammo. You have to go out there with 100 or 100 plus of the heavy ammo. And then you recruit ammo as you go out there, and you'll find that you'll be above the curve. If you're just going to go out there with the bare minimum...
It's time to make guide videos.
Buddy, honestly, you know what's funny?
Podcasts.
TC, I wish you lived closer, because if I can get your video auditing and we can use my voice, I'm telling you right now, buddy, I think we can give WNBC a chance. I don't know if they'll give us a shot, but I think we can get a shot. I really have a lot to say on Marathon, and we will get to it. But, I will say, just getting back to what Fonz was saying about RE9, I think RE9 really does a great job of grabbing those beginning horror elements from 1, 2, 3, and then picking up where 4 is. And I know Fonz didn't care for 7 so much. I liked 7 a lot. And I think that 8, with some of the way that they had that gruesome zoom in features, they used a few things and a few elements from 8, and they really crafted this beautiful video game. This game is fantastic. I don't know if people would call RE9 beautiful, but it's tremendous. It's a great game.
Oh, it's gorgeous. Especially if are you playing it on PC with path tracing? My goodness, what the hell?
Right?
When I saw that.
I'm actually playing on PS5 Pro. I try to go back and forth. I play some games on PC. Like Crimson Desert, I'm going to play on PC. This one, listen, I got to say, someone said this to me about 7 or 8 years ago, and it really resonated. And Fonz, listen, I kind of pick on you a bit, Fonz, because we're in the same age group there. Certain games just feel good playing on the couch, playing on console. Like I like that feeling. It just brings it back home. I've been playing Resident Evil since I was very young.
I've totally switched up.
I know you did.
In an office chair, and I play in front of a 32-inch OLED monitor, and
yep,
I have a blast even with my consoles. Although I do want one in the living room again.
You miss it. You're gonna miss it.
Not sitting in the living room with the fam. Sometimes, sometimes you got family and they're just sitting on their phones doing nothing, their tablets, and you're like, man, I could fire up a game right now and just enjoy.
That's it. And for me, Resident Evil is that. It's just something I want to slow burn. A lot of people Fonz, you said this. You said, well, Mooch, I heard that it could be done in 10 to 14 hours. It can. I'm on my first run through and I'm just under 20, and I'm going to go back through again and play it on the classic mode, which is the hard mode.
Me, though. You dig into everything.
Yes.
You explore every nook and cranny. That's what I do with games like this.
Absolutely.
You have to. But yeah, speedrunners and stuff, they're beating this game in like an hour and a half. I don't know how. It's insane.
For $70, why would you? You know what I mean? I can't figure that one out.
No, I'm sure these guys have played it 10 times, so they got their money's worth.
That's true.
But one thing I do want to say about Resident Evil 9, because I'm still early on in the game, I have to mention, because this is something that really upsets me about the gaming industry as of late, especially.
Mm-hmm.
This game does not do what most other developers don't do, which is actually they do what most don't do, which is optimize. This game is so optimized. On the PC, I'm running path tracing. I've got all the bells and whistles and still hitting over 100 frames.
Yeah.
I'm jealous.
Shout out.
I'm jealous, he said.
Shout out. It's amazing looking on PC. Just incredible.
You know, so listen, so again, just shout out to Fonz real quick for saying that. TC saying the same thing with the path tracing a moment ago. And shout out again to Lazy Vibes. Lazy and Blaze have given me a bit of slack. They're like, Mooch, so you got this powerful PC and you still elect to play this on your console. I said, listen, sometimes that old hat doesn't die. So I rotate games. I go back and forth. I play.
Your PC do path tracing as well, Mooch?
Oh, absolutely. But I don't.
You wouldn't even try?
Well, I didn't. I bought it on PlayStation. Listen, there's a lot of games, right? I bought Marathon. I'm buying that. I'm buying Crimson Desert next week. We've got Saros around the corner. There's a lot. I mean,
Saros. Oh my God.
You know what I mean? I mean, I say around the corner, but when you're playing games like Crimson Desert, that's going to be 250 hours on top of the fact that I'm probably going to put at least 100 hours in the Marathon in the next month. I mean, like,
and then Crimson Desert.
Crimson Desert's going to be easily 200 plus. 200 plus. I'm hearing. And I think that's, someone told me, I said that one time on a show and they were like, Mooch, you're way off, buddy. Crimson Desert's going to be way more than 200 hours. I said, I'm not trying to get the 100% on it, but like this game is looking phenomenal. And I want to see, what it can do and what it can't do.
I see the missions to be engaging because like when I played it at the Gamescom last year, it was fun. Once you get control of the combat, because it is complicated. Like when it's like not normal action combat like how you play it with the controller, it takes like a bit of time to like learn how to do all of that thing. Because I saw somebody also do a preview of it, and he said you'd want to play this game and not step away, because if you step away and come back, you'll forget everything. And this is prime for this game. You can probably switch between other games, but Crimson Desert, if you go and come back, it's like you just can't play this. You have to take a time again to just get comfortable with the controls.
And I love that they've done that, right? I love that they're trying something new, and this is just not another.
No, I feel like it could be some. I feel like some things could be easier. That was my comment when I played it, because like the developers would ask like people's comments and like how they felt about the game. For me, I just said the controls. Like it was fun, so I got used to it, and it was fun just going in a wide field, and it felt like Lord of the Rings. It's like going into a wide field and then a bunch of enemies, you're just fighting people, or you can just rush through them, go to the boss, and then it just felt like such a massive world. It felt like just like true freedom type of thing. So that was like the part of the hurdle to get through. It's like I really want to get into this gameplay, so I got through figuring it out, but I forgot who said it. 100%. If you step away from Crimson Desert and come back, you're gonna have a hard time.
I'll tell you what, though, with me at my age, when I step away from any game for any amount of time and go back,
yeah, that's right.
It's just it happens.
He's not
50,
lying.
So
he's not lying. It is what it is. It does take that learning curve to get back the mechanics. Shout out to Jack4148. And Jack, we're gonna talk about this when we get to Marathon, but I'll just read it out loud real quick. He says, if you like Marathon, you better play as much as possible. It's a live service game. We don't know how long the game will last. Listen, we'll get into it. But
have any of you beaten it yet, Resident Evil?
I am on the final boss.
Yeah.
I destroyed the bad ending. My mouth dropped. I forgot that there was two endings.
Shit.
When I saw the bad ending, I literally sat there, my mouth dropped, and I was like, what the fuck is this?
No, listen, no spoilers. Fonz is very early in the game, and I literally was talking on stream. I was talking on stream on Monday night, and I had just said, listen, this is not a spoiler. I don't care what anybody says. I was just talking about the area in which you're Leon, and you need to find the detonator. And somebody was like, Mooch, don't give it away. And I'm like, give it away. I'm like, to open a door with a bomb is in every video game. Like, well, what do you mean? We give it away. We've been doing that since about 1988. So, by the way, just want to say shout out to everybody here. I got a couple super chats here already. Babor is here. Thank you so much. He says, can we acknowledge PC gamers crash out over sorrows? Shout out to Babor. The show can start now. Silver says 14 likes. 100
PC gamers crash out over sorrows. What happened? Did I miss something?
No, I think what he's saying is they're crashing out because those games won't be going to PC.
Soros won't be going. Care. That's the comments that I've been seeing.
Like, well, it depends on where you're reading. It is a variable there, TC. So you're not wrong. They do care. They probably. I would assume that they do care too, Fonz. I would assume that they do care. Shout out to Silver.
PC guys are just as fanboyish as any other freaking fan.
They entered the ring, and everyone's in the console wars together, right? It's funny is when there aren't any console wars, we're gonna miss it. You know what I mean? Even the executives took part in them back in the day.
I'll go on further and say they go some of the hardest, and I thought about it. Well, why is it? But it's because there's so much more money invested into what they're playing, right? So
my guy's clicking hard on that controller. He's clicking hard.
Like everyone wants to champion the platform they're doing because they've invested in it. They want, they want to feel good about their purchase. But if you've spent £2,000-3,000, different level of commitment.
You want your games.
If you spent a few hundred.
That's right. You want your games, right? So they're like, give me those goddamn games, right? So it's awesome. Shout out to, it's a good point. It's a very good point, Nib. The Gaming Ledger, he says here, might as well make GDC the new E3. Have a great show. Ledger, thank you. By the way, Ledger, congratulations to you and your family. I just want to say real quick, we're looking forward to having you on the show. When you can join us one week, that'd be great to have you here. And Glinser says, why the heck is Helix being called a hybrid now? Well, we're going to get into that, Glinser, right now. I'll go over and put Fonz on the hot seat here, which is not really a hot seat in this case. It's just more of an opinion piece. But Fonz, Xbox at GDC, what will Project Helix bring to gaming? Will it change how we all experience gaming and purchasing, or will it fall a bit flat? Where are you on the whole thing? You don't have to really answer those questions, but just from what you do know about Helix, what it is. And he says, why are we calling it hybrid? There's still going to be an Xbox mode in quotes on this device, backwards compatibility, and it seems like a high price tag, Fonz. And you've always talked about price when it comes to gaming and how that does affect things in the long run. Fonz, what do you think from what you know, what you heard, and what you're feeling?
So I do hear things from certain individuals that know people at Xbox. I know they actually talk to people there. I've seen texts and stuff from certain individuals, and I won't say
no. You don't have to get into any names.
But I will say that I know that Asha Sharma is looking at everything, and what I mean by that is they're seriously looking into everything from exclusivity to should they pull games from PlayStation, should they pull games from Steam, that sort of thing. However, their actions, to me, especially what we've learned out of GDC and today, I think that they're more in line to go this way. I think that Xbox Helix is kind of the catalyst for their community to be basically migrated into PC. I think that is their play. They want people to go to PC, and they want to compete more on a storefront on PC. I think they'll compete more with Steam than they would, say, with PlayStation, because I think they're going to leave their games on PlayStation. This is just me. This is my feeling now. It could change later. Again, I'm hearing they're looking at everything, but their actions, what I'm seeing them do, like we've heard, they're trying to get all your Xbox library on PC, not the Helix, the PC.
On the PC, that's right.
And they're also trying to get everything on the PC. The Xbox mode is coming in April. This is just so they can, it's sort of a beta test, make sure everything's running good. They've got another year and a half plus before Helix comes out, even if it comes out end of 2027. So that's a good amount of time to see if everything is working in this Xbox mode and everything's gelling on PC. But also, it's that going back to that, trying to bring your library, because if you do ask Xbox people out there, Xbox gamers, and you ask them, why would you buy an Xbox if you can buy a PlayStation with your games? And they'll tell you, well, because my library's there. I'm not leaving my library. That tells me a lot, because if they're trying to put that on the PC itself, that's what they want. They want everybody over to PC eventually. Yes, the Helix will be there. Yes, that's, it should be a cheaper price point than saying buying a mid-range PC or whatever to get similar specs. But at the end of the day, after the Helix, that's it.
Yeah.
After Helix is done, the next generation, I think they're just going to have that PC there. And, they talk about OEM consoles and stuff.
Yep.
First of all, I don't see the Helix selling like gangbusters because it's going to be an expensive piece of tech. I'm expecting well over $1,000. So I don't see a lot of console gamers, even console enthusiasts, buying a $700 box.
Yeah.
Really just migrating to something that's $1,000 plus and more on the PC side than it is a console. And I know I get a lot of flack for saying that, but that's what this thing is. It's a PC.
That's right.
That basically plays console games as well. All the Helix games for Xbox first party will be PC-based games. That we know. Going forward, every Xbox game is going to be PC on the Helix. And that includes multiplats as well. Because I was asking this for a while. I was like, why would developers make a game or two games for one SKU for a console for Helix and another one for PC?
Right.
Even with their GDK and it's smoother to make, both titles. I said, but why would they do that? Because there's still extra processes that they still have to go through. And time is money. And I didn't think that they would do that. But now we know everything going forward is PC. Now, the library is all going to be there too as well. So that'll be the console portion of the box there. And you'll have the possibility of a dual boot system. I'm not sure exactly there because we don't know. But you'll have that console experience, and you'll also have that Windows experience where you can tap into Steam and everything like that. So at the end of the day, that's how I see it now. Again, it could change later, but I see them trying to get people to PC and their PC box, their Windows storefront, trying to compete with Steam. And in my opinion, that's a freaking tall task because Steam reigns supreme on PC. I don't think that's a smart play, but if that is the play, eventually it doesn't matter about the platform. The platform is gone. I say they'll still be around as a big publisher.
Absolutely.
But the platform is gone because the one thing I've stressed for a long time now, or not a long time, just in the recent months, is that exclusivity does matter if you want to sell a platform. If they do not have any type of compelling exclusive games, I'm not talking about your South of Midnights and your Avoweds. I'm talking about games that really sell and resonate with the masses. Like their Forza Horizons, like their possibility of the Gears E-Day. Those games, they need more of those. They need new franchises. And they need to be compelling titles to sell to people on that particular box. If you want it to sell, if you want to maintain console presence, that's what you have to do. Because at the present right now, I feel like the max you're going to see them sell this Helix, if it is just to play to PC, is maybe 10 million units next gen.
I'm hearing that as well. I'm hearing that. That's a rough average. Rough average.
Yeah, that's so that's how I feel.
Yep. No, and
I'm not hating on Xbox.
There's nothing you said that sounded like there's nothing you said that sounded like hate at all. Maybe some people that are diehard console on the Xbox side, it's a little bit of a jagged pill to swallow, but it is what it is, Fonz, you know?
Yeah.
TC, I'm going to you next year. I just have a couple super chats. Satanist, he says, Project Helix Balls will invent PC gaming. You're going to have to explain that to me in the chat, buddy. I'm not sure. The OA says, I think Microsoft tried the waters with the ROG Ally and saw that Helix needed to have full backwards compatibility, not only the play anywhere, in quotes, games. Hence, the backwards compatibility being via software. I think they're still developing it. OA comes back. He says, I wonder how devs like Rockstar will take it since they love to sell their games twice. Also, the EULA of some games doesn't allow for games to run on PC-like hardware. That's some interesting points, OA. And Ocelot's right. Shout out to Ocelot. I appreciate you being here. Hit that like button, guys. We have 329 people here. Do Mooch a favor. Take a second, hit that like button. But TC, as TC puts his controller down. TC. What do you
put it down.
Thank you. I appreciate that. TC, what do you think? You heard what Fonz was saying. And I got to say, I'm kind of running parallel with them on a lot of that. The thing about it is that with this possibility that this is their Xbox's last entry into that hardware space, by making this a $1,200, we'll split the uprights, right? Some people are saying $1,500, some people are saying $1,000. Let's just say $1,200. If we split the uprights and we say $1,200, that's pricing them out of a lot of people that are in that console space. You know, getting people that are casuals that go out and they buy a console because that's where they have their games, it's where their friends are. Now the next iteration is going to cost them double and a little over double possibly of what their Xbox Series X cost them. What kind of detriment is that? Because even with the Xbox Mode app, a lot of console gamers, you know, we lose track of this in the community because the community is now blended between PC, PlayStation, Xbox, Switch. I get it. We are all in that world, the hardcore camp. I get that. But most people that are out there that buy a console for their favorite few games, Call of Duty, Madden, NBA 2K, whatever, FIFA, like those folks are not going to want to go spend $1,200 to keep up with next generation Xbox. TC, what do you think from what you've heard from GDC?
So what was I'm sorry, like what was the specific question? Like my thoughts on it?
Just your thoughts overall, and thoughts, price, and then what's going to happen to the faithful Xbox fans that are okay with a $5 and now been talked into a $700 purchase, but they're not willing to go over that $1,000 threshold?
Well, I think like I'm going off the pricing. I'm not, an expert on this. So I like listen to what people like Moore's Law is Dead say yes. about this. And he's saying pretty much this thing is like probably going to be like 1,000, above 1,000. But he's saying considering the tech that's inside of it, like equivalent PC would be much more expensive. So this will be a bargain for people, in that space because the PC community is obviously big, but they also like customization. So I don't know how much Helix would motivate them to get it, but they all seem to be excited about the Steam box. So there's a conversation.
Well, the Steam box, but the Steam box is rumored to be somewhere between $700 and $800. That's a far cry from $1,200.
It's a much weaker.
Yes,
console.
it is.
Like it's weaker than the PS5. That's one of the things. Like I'm looking forward to the Steam machine, but I was really hoping it would be like more powerful than the PS5, even if it costs more because it's in the PC space. Because I wanted to get something in the PC space to play those titles that don't launch on console. Day one. I always see like the PC gaming show or something like that. So that's one of the things why I'm excited for something like Helix. But I'm also excited because as a gamer, I've gotten every console, every generation. So I'm excited for what Helix is set to bring. I'm really curious to see how they combine PC and Xbox. Because the emulation part is very cool, especially the hint. So there's something that I always come back to when we're talking about next gen and Phil Spencer, honestly, I stopped listening to Phil Spencer back in 2018 just because the dude cannot stop lying. But one of the things he said for next gen, he's like, I don't want to win people over with exclusive games. I want to win them over with features. So looking at it now, it seems like this is exactly what he was talking about. Like the features side of things, because it's a PC, you have features, you have a more open platform, you have different stores and different things like that. It all comes down to how well are they going to manage the library to be able to play both games. If it's all in one UI, that could honestly be very cool for a lot of people. And one of the other things that's been rumored for Xbox for a while is free online play, because this is a PC at like it would be ridiculous if they came out of the gate, sold a $1,200 box, and said, you know how this is a PC, but we're still going to charge you somehow for playing online. And for a lot of people,
I think TC, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I just want to. I definitely think they're going to continue somehow to charge online.
Game Pass.
That would be
Game Pass or something. Yeah.
Game Pass is one thing. I'm talking about online play. Game Pass is one thing.
Well,
online play is what I'm specific to.
Yeah, but they add that into the Game Pass.
They add that into Game Pass. Here's the thing, and I understand what you're saying, TC.
Yeah,
but
I think they could just combine Game Pass PC and Ultimate and console all in one, or maybe have one day tier and one not, because that way, like at the moment, there's still a lot of people who aren't on Ultimate, for example, and just have the standard PC Game Pass. I feel like they may move around some of the subscription side of things, especially based on the financial results we've been seeing the last 2 quarters. Probably imperative.
I just think that's a lot of money left on the table that they're not going to get rid of, whether no matter how they decide.
I agree.
But I don't see how they can keep it, especially if you've got Steam
PC.
there.
Yeah,
because
that's the thing.
if you're running Steam games, you cannot charge people to play Steam
so then
games
they also
online.
destroy their own, if they want to use their own Xbox store, they destroy that, because at that point there's nobody that's going to buy anything on the Xbox store.
Correct.
People are already going to buy stuff on PC, but like having the option of buying on Windows, and maybe people will be like, because I'm still wondering how they're going to do the play everywhere. I still didn't fully look into that, but I assume with the Windows store that they have, it's like a added benefit. If you buy on the Windows Store, you'll have it on PC, you'll have it on your, I guess, Helix, or you'll have it on your Xbox, you'll have it wherever you want to, wherever you want to play your games. That would be a benefit, which again comes back to Phil Spencer saying, and this is the only thing that stuck with me for so long, because I was really curious. I've talked about it in a couple of videos. I'm like, before we knew what Helix was going to be, I'm really curious what he's referring to when he's talking about features, and it's clearly like this. But then you have Sony coming here. If you buy something on the PlayStation Store, you'll get it on the PS5, you'll get it on the PS6. I'm assuming, unless they charge upgrades there, which again is another positive for Helix, because there wouldn't be any of that. And then you also have the handheld. So if you buy it, I assume you'll also be able to play it on the handheld. So it's a whole features thing. But yeah, I'm personally looking forward to it.
Fons, I did have a question for you. It's something, even after GDC, I haven't seen answered yet. I know we've had a lot of information about Helix, but it's still slightly in between the lines kind of information. Will Helix, as in new releases, I'm not talking about backdated Xbox Series X releases, etc., but in terms of from the day that the console comes out, have you heard whether the system will play native PC SKU versions of games, or if it will still have its own console SKU versions of games?
I have not heard anything about that.
Okay.
But I could imagine. Well, here's the thing. I could imagine it'll have its own SKU, because even though it's a PC game, they've got to go in there and at least put the achievements in and things like that. So I'm sure it's going to have.
Well, what about if they transition that Xbox, because we're getting that Xbox window thing or whatever in April? I wonder if that's going to play a role in that to make this just strictly PC. Like you'll have just
but even for I could see if it's a PC SKU on Windows itself. Yeah, but again, like these multi-platform games that come into the Xbox ecosystem, they still have to implement certain things like achievements and stuff. So,
then the other question,
different.
I don't know if anyone in the panel knows this. In terms of Play Anywhere, does anyone know the licensing cost for Microsoft to accrue the additional licenses for multiple platforms on non-first-party games? So, for example, like a Yakuza, for example, there. Do they have to pay Sega a certain fee or something in order to allow their Xbox customers to play that on PC as well? Or how does that all work? Because, obviously, if they are going to have their own Xbox SKU, and it is going to be able to play PC versions of games as well and Steam, if it doesn't play Steam natively, then the only way they can get around that is through the licensing with some sort of Play Anywhere arrangement, which I could imagine would be quite costly over the long term. No?
Like for me, that's one of the other reasons why I also think like it's just PC. It's not Maybe they'll have a direct Helix, target like Steam is doing, like they have Steam verified. They could have something like that, but in the end, it's still like, hey, this is a PC game at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So
I'm going to be honest. I don't know. I like the terminology they're using made me think that it probably is just going to play PC versions of games. But now they're talking about the SDK and having their own dev kits and stuff. And I'm thinking, would you?
Well, a dev kit is just an assortment of tools.
Of course,
it's an assortment of tools to make the.
And it is custom hardware, so it makes sense that they would still have a dev kit. I understand that, but you never know. It'll be interesting to see either way. It's very uncharted territories, kind of at the moment, because even from they're so they always do strategies that are quite shake up things a little bit and can be quite negative for the brand and company. And I just wonder if this could be another one of those, because we've spoken about before, one of Xbox's biggest blights is their messaging, right? And this is even more confusing than anything they've done prior, because it's like, am I getting a PC? Am I getting Xbox versions of games? Am I getting Steam versions of games? Like we don't even know, and
there's so much that nobody knows
right
at this point.
Yeah,
they're keeping quiet on so much. But on that front with the PC games, the interesting thing is with the dev kits, like some people heard that they're getting the dev kits next year, and they're like, oh no, this means it's not coming out till 2028. Well, if you remember, Series X did the same thing in 2020.
Yes.
But it also caused a lot of issues with ports in 2020. Yeah. The difference here, though, is because these are PC games, they have to add things like achievements and stuff, and they don't really have to do that much.
So this is where I think the
PC port.
So this is where I think that Xbox window thing that they're doing in April comes in, because they're clearly like laying down the baseline for this. The window comes out in April. The PC backwards compatibility of their games comes out in like November, I think, for their 25th anniversary. The original UI that they had for the Ally came out last year. They've been putting drops of things to take feedback and understand what they need to finalize before, because they obviously have something for Helix in terms of a UI, and it's obviously an evolution of what they had for the Ally. But they've clearly been dropping these crumbs to see the live feedback from the community and then take actions on that before Helix drops in next year. And that's why, again, I think it's just PC versions of these games. So that's how Play Everywhere would work. That's why, even though it's close to the launch of the console, it probably wouldn't be as bad of a situation, because they're PC versions of games that people have been working on already for years, and they're probably going to take advantage of what Helix is able to do in terms of the various tools, the features that it has, which again, PC, it's AMD. So that's why I think it's Helix is PC.
One of the
console side of it is the Series X stuff and the 360 and Xbox One. But yeah, go ahead.
One of the things that, just the other side of the coin, and this is what's great about having Fonz on, me and him, I don't know if he remembers, but it was years ago, and we were having a great conversation about games and features and things. And the one thing, so there's a lot, like you said, there's a lot here that we don't know about Helix yet. But looking at the other page and just things to be excited for, and again, a lot of people in the community have switched over to PC, especially in the Xbox camp. Like I turn on my Xbox and I see all what used to be little Xbox logos are now all PC logos. And it's like, oh, Xbox did exactly what they wanted to do. They wanted to move everybody over to PC. This is kind of that final off-ramp, if you will. People are calling this they're calling it the Helix off-ramp. It's the off-ramp off of console and going to PC. And I agree with Fonz when he said this is probably the last iteration you'll see of a hardware coming out of Xbox. And go ahead, Nick.
I think the most go ahead.
I was going to say I totally see that, but I still don't understand the economics of it, because even if you are selling 38 or 42 or whatever, you can argue with your mum about what the Series X number is.
Right.
That is still 40-odd million, for which they get a 30% cut on every transaction. Keep in mind, again, like we said before, Xbox's consumer base is predominantly digital. I think 90% digital based on Christopher Dring and Matt Piscatella, right? So 90% digital of a 40 million user base, plus they can buy, accessories and peripherals and other hardware, and then obviously services as well. And we're talking about transitioning that to a PC-centric device that might play Steam games, for which they lose the 30% cut, and may also sell fewer units, So I'm just thinking, isn't that giving away a huge amount of revenue? Where is the gain exactly?
Well,
Where is the?
that's why I say the play is kind of crazy if they are going
Yeah.
towards PC, but also they want you in their ecosystem because they want you to spend money there. And if you think about it, the biggest money maker of all these companies is microtransactions.
That's right.
They want you buying on their storefront. They want you in their ecosystem. So they want you in Game Pass. And I think that's what they're trying to do here. Get everybody into that whole ecosystem with Game Pass, all that stuff. I just don't know that they can do it. I really don't, because I'm looking at this situation like we talked about it earlier with the price point. If it's, let's say it's $1,200, okay? Yes, it would be a steal at the spec that Moore's Law is talking about. But at the same time, I've been told by many people in the community that are console gamers only that A, they don't want to go to PC, and B, they simply can't afford to spend more than $600 even on a console or a PC.
Exactly.
There's so many console gamers that, and I'm not trying to call, a certain sect of gamers broke or anything, because I'm not that guy. I grew up poor, so I understand. I can't afford to go out and buy 2 consoles all at once, at the start of a gen. It's something I can't personally do. So I understand what these people are talking about. And the way I see these things going in the future, I honestly see a lot of these console gamers that were on Xbox migrating over to PlayStation eventually, especially if PlayStation comes out at a decent price.
Yeah. So,
and I'm not saying it will, but I'm
glad
I'm hearing rumors they might subsidize over there. Xbox will definitely not subsidize. Not at all, because they know that this thing is not going to sell that much, and this is a premium, high-priced console.
I agree with you, and I'm glad you kind of said that. Like, that was the one thing I was going to say. The only thing I was going to kind of bring an element to is those individuals that you speak of, Fonz, that are going to possibly migrate over to PlayStation. The one thing about it is like there's still something really cool, new, and ingenuitive about having the new consoles, right? And with PlayStation 5, we'll use 5 because we don't, like you said, we don't know much about Helix. We don't know much about PS6 either. But like what the DualSense brought this generation was phenomenal. The haptic feedback and the controller, the microphone. I know that you guys are playing on not PlayStation, but I'm playing Resident Evil 9 on PlayStation 5 Pro. And when you get the call in from your alias, your other agent that you're working when you're Leon, the call comes through and it's the way they do it. It sounds, yes, it sounds just like it sounds like you're talking through a walkie-talkie, and it's just it's marvelous, and it entraps you into the story, it immerses you, and I love that about it. And then now they have the PSSR and PSSR 2, which we're going to get into a little bit with Crimson Desert and Digital Foundry's analysis in a bit. But like my point being is that these are the things you can do when you have the console. Even if the console is a smidgen weaker on paper, which we learned this generation with Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5, you can do more with that closed system. And that's one of the things that kind of takes a little, and that's because I have a powerful gaming PC. Don't get me wrong, it's great in the path tracing, the ray tracing, and keeping everything on settings on Epic or Ultra, fantastic. The lighting, everything, great. But to see what they can do with the consoles, and maybe this is just me talking about my age, but like I thoroughly enjoy seeing what PlayStation is going to come out with in PS6. And
can I just say that the PlayStation and Mark Cerny is a freaking genius.
He really is fun.
Look, Jason Ronald, shout out to him. Good friend. He's a friend of mine. I actually talk to him often over there at Xbox. Great mind as well. Mm-hmm. But Mark Cerny, I don't know what it is, but he just has this secret sauce that he just throws in.
I knew that sauce was coming.
The thing is, I'm
telling you, people will talk about it. Like, I've made fun of the guy because he looks like Dana Carvey.
Yeah, he does.
Very nerdy.
He does.
Stuff,
yes.
But at the end of the day, I've never said this guy was dumb or he's stupid. No, this guy's a freaking genius.
He really
is.
He's
done with these consoles. If you look at what he's done with the Pro and the PSSR, look, when PSSR first came out, it wasn't that good. And I was sitting there going, it's not good. This thing's never going to be that great. But now there's PSSR 2. And I'm just like, there's that secret sauce again.
Yes. Yes.
I was going to say, I think, like, based on what he said in interviews and stuff, and big graph panels and things like that, I think a lot of it is because they're very, very deeply in tune with their first-party studios. So a lot of the design of these consoles is predominantly based on what they request, right? So a Naughty Dog, okay, what are you trying to do? Okay, you're doing global illumination this way. You don't have the RAM for it, or you need decompression here or there, or how much data are you trying to put through, etc., etc. And they're basically designing these systems in tandem with him, right? This is what we need. This is where we're having roadblocks. This is the, where we're having issues or whatever. Like even with the PS5, like there's a lot of stuff in there which is not even sort of RDNA related or whatever, with the decompression blocks and it has custom controllers and things like that to basically handle all the paging, right? So when the CPU is deciding, what data is going from the SSD to RAM, on most systems, the CPU, GPU has to calculate that. It has to run it through and, okay, send this, send this, send this. PS5 is not doing that. It has controllers, DMCA controllers and everything else that does all of that. And that is really ingenious because even though it is actually a shitty CPU in these consoles, the PlayStation 5 CPU is actually not doing a lot of the tasks that are typically related to CPU. It's actually a whole other I/O subsystem that's doing it. And I think those kind of things are what is really interesting about the way he designs consoles, because it's not just, I know people always say it's just a PC. It's actually not just a PC. There's a lot of customizations in there that extend beyond that and allow consoles to just eke out a little bit more than they typically can. And obviously because it uses a custom API as well, AGC and AGCX. Xbox and PC, they all use DirectX. So literally, and they didn't even use the same API that they used with PS4. That's GNM, right? They actually designed a custom API specifically for the PS5 hardware. And I assume they're going to do the same with the PS6. So from someone who's always been ingrained in consoles, well, at least since 2012, before that I was primarily PC, but now I'm in the console sphere. That is what I want from consoles. I actually don't want overlap with PC because all I'm getting is more optimization abstract and less custom specific optimization.
Yeah.
I actually don't want development tools that make it easy to, when you do something, it does it for PC as well, because then you're never going to get as much on the console side. I actually would prefer if the APIs and the tools and everything was specifically designed, low access hardware, everything like that, like the PS5 is. So as much as I understand that the Helix is going to be more powerful on paper, and it probably will be more performant in real world as well, but I think there's probably going to be a lot of micro things that bridge that gap, like we have this generation as well.
From what I understand with that is it's not going to be that much. Like it's in real world, it's not going to be that much. It's like
Digital Foundry said that.
Yeah.
Moore's Law is Dead said the same thing.
Yeah, didn't Digital Foundry actually say there's a bigger gap between the PS5 and the Series X?
Yes.
Yeah. Moore's Law said that as well.
Yes.
Yeah. I do, just to give flowers to Xbox though, even though that is true on the compute side of things, so there's the Series X has 44% more compute than the PS5, and the Helix has, I think it's 25% more compute than the PS6. But to be fair, PS5 has higher clock speed, like quite a lot higher clock speed than Series X. We don't know what the clock speed difference is going to be with Helix. Right. So maybe Helix has the same or faster clock speed. And on top of that, the Helix does have other things going for it. For example, it has a higher LLC cache, like L3 cache. Now, maybe that won't actually materialize into anything gaming, because they have that cache for the Windows side of things and because the OS is going to be heavier and things like that. But typically, when you have a larger L3 cache, it does actually improve game performance, especially on the CPU side. So maybe there are things that aren't as differential as this generation, but there are certain things that are more so for the next generation. So maybe it could be a bigger gap. But again, PS6, is going to have Project Amethyst stuff, which maybe Helix isn't going to have.
And don't forget PSSR.
That's right.
as well, yeah. So
that was the one thing
again,
which is from Project Amethyst as well.
Well,
the whole thing.
I just want to remind folks out there, and Fonz, you said it when you were giving your explanation of PSSR, your initial thoughts to where we are today. And we had Detzinger on the show, and he even said this himself. Like, so just in comparison, like PSSR when it first came out, maybe didn't impress everybody like what you're seeing, what's going to be coming out in the next weeks.
It depended on the game.
It did depend on the game. It did. It was heavily dependent on the game. But if you remember right, this is console's version of like FSR, right? And FSR 1 was, you can ask PC guys, well, I asked DS, and he was saying it wasn't very good. Now where it's gotten to and where they're going, where DLSS has gone and where they've gotten to with DLSS 4, now we're seeing this unbelievable turn in technology. That same thing is going to happen with PSSR. So that's a great point that I think it was Fonz that just chimed in when he said, don't forget about PSSR. That's going to be a big thing because you're going to be on iteration 3 or 4 by the time PS6 comes out.
And don't forget about these CPUs.
Yes.
I can't stress that enough.
Yeah.
If they're anything like the spec we're hearing, my God, you guys are going to have a blast on either of these consoles.
That's right.
With games.
Yeah,
it's going to be
such
so amazing.
It is going to be quite a
jump.
so
Zen 2
because we've got
Zen
potato
5.
CPUs right now.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
People forget they're from 2019.
Yeah. Even older if
in
you
the
think
PC
about
space, that's like mammoth old. Like
it. So
no, exactly.
So let me ask TC. I'll start with TC on this one. So let's talk petty Sony for a second here. Will Sony, with the Steam machine, and a lot of reports are coming out now. People were kind of giving Xbox and Steam the reason for this move of Sony pulling their games. Now they're saying it's more on it's more because of Steam machine than it is because of Helix. That's a couple of the reports that I've seen in the past few days.
I think it's a combination of things. I think that's leaving PC. I think it is a combination of things. I think it's people doubting that. Sorry?
No, I think it's a combination too, but I would say that it's probably Valve having all their games and then putting a console out that goes under the TV right next to where the place. So the question that people,
small it is?
I did.
Like, there was recent pictures somebody put on X. That thing is small.
Well, I would say that we have to have we don't know the relative scale. That could have also been a 120-inch television set.
Okay,
in that case, a 32-inch monitor under it would look tiny. My point being is that, but yes, it is definitely smaller. TC, not to take that away from you, but what people are saying now, would Sony, and I think I already know the answer to this, but it's a great conversation for podcasting. Would Sony be petty enough to take and delist their games that they currently have on Steam off of Steam at some point in the next 2 years? Would that happen, or before Steam machine launches, which now seems like it's delayed a bit?
So for me, I like petty. And when speaking about petty in that conversation, I feel like that's like online console war stuff. Like in terms of strategy for Sony, it's like brand marketing and keeping that aura, I guess, of exclusivity, like Nintendo has. You don't see Mario on PC. So if they pull it off of PC, I know the internet is going to be like, "Oh, look how petty they are. They're leaving it off PC. They're afraid." It's a whole marketing thing. Of course, if they want to do it, they're gonna do it. But like people act like the games that have already been out are all of PlayStation. It's very confusing for me because there's older games and new games that are gonna come out that doesn't include that they're not gonna be on PC. Like Wolverine's not gonna be on PC, and all of these games are not gonna be on PC. So I don't know if Sony is gonna do it, but if they do, it's a strategic thing. It's not like
of course.
Hideki Nishino sitting in the background. He's like, "Yo, man, they're doing that Steam shit. Nah, man, we're removing that right now. Get that done."
And I'm sure even if there was something drastic like that, which I doubt, if you bought the game, you would still have the game. It just would take it off.
Yeah, I would assume that.
Yeah. You can't. I
think that's a legal matter too.
It is.
As well.
That's a legal matter. But what do you, just real quick, and yes, I used the word petty. Thank you, TC, for reminding me. That is just online banter talk. It is strategic. So, Fonz, I'll turn the question to you a little bit more professionally. Do you think it is a strategic? Right, thank you, TC. Fonz, will they do a strategic move and delist the game? So, if you own the game on Steam now, you own the game. It will be yours forever. However, they will remove those in their quest to saying, listen, even though Valve is saying it's a PC, let's be honest, it is a very compact version of a PS5 that you're building right now. We know exactly what you're doing, and our games are there. Would they actually take those games off, Fonz, in your opinion, for future purchases?
I think they could be that petty.
Yeah.
I think they could. However, I don't know that they would do that. But I do say this. Having that Steam box in there is in direct competition. It's in the living room, okay? Same thing with the Helix and stuff. And if their games were to go to the Steam platform, of course, they would both be able to play it. So I'm glad that they're not putting any more games out. I think I don't know if it's been confirmed yet by them. Have they confirmed that they're not doing it?
No,
but it's Jason Schreier. So,
but it's Jason Schreier.
Yes,
exactly.
Yes,
he usually has.
He's got a pretty good record, Fonz.
He has a great record.
I mean, he's been joined by plenty of others.
Yeah, others have backed him up that also have good records.
I think they should. They should pull them. I think that they are. It is a threat to their ecosystem.
It is
100%.
It is.
I think that Sony is doing something that they've always prided themselves on, and that is prioritizing their platform. So I have no issue with it whatsoever. I commend them for doing that. I wish, again, I know some of you have different thoughts on Xbox. I wish they would do the same, but they're so deep into that ecosystem with the PC and everything that it's so hard for them to do. The only thing I could see them do is pull from the Steam storefront and try to compete, from that Windows perspective, that Windows storefront. But that's a death sentence. That's not really going to do well, in my opinion. I just don't see that. But I would like them to pull their games from PlayStation. I would like them to see them do more in terms of competition, because I think that has been lacking in the past generation, and what we're seeing now are honestly a lot of the games, to me, haven't been that impressive coming out of both camps this gen. I've not been that impressed. No, I'm being honest. I think, look, what I'm seeing out of Xbox and their games,
because I was completely surprised off of that. Like you had like Death Stranding 2 last year, and I'm like, that is one of the probably prettiest games of this generation.
I look, for me, I'm talking about me personally. I like particular games. I usually end up liking more Sony type of games than I do Xbox type of games, because I do like the whole, call it what you will, sad dad walking simulators. Let's go there. I like that. Okay. I like these cinematic games. But I've not been that impressed this gen with PlayStation. I think that the sequels that have dropped just haven't been as good as the originals for me. Still had fun with them. Don't get me wrong. And I feel like they've done a little less because of the whole situation that happened with Jim Ryan, the gas games and all that stuff. So they've had a lot to go back on and try to retool, make a new game now, because they were, they shut down a lot of these gas games and stuff. But they've also shut down some studios here and there. I think that they've played it a little safe this gen. I'll say that. I think they've been a little safe outside of the gas stuff that happened. I think safe with
the gas,
with the sequels, and I think they've been safe with the remakes and the remasters. And I think Xbox just hasn't been fucking trying at all with some of their games. Like I'm really disappointed in like a lot of Xbox games this gen. Your South of Midnights, your Avoweds, like. And even the games that I did like, I enjoy the Outer Worlds franchise. I really do. I love that franchise, and I have no issue saying it. However, I could be objective, and I could say when I played Outer Worlds 2, it felt dated.
Fonz, do me a favor, Fonz.
A lot of their games.
Fonz, do me a favor. Dated. I'll find the timestamp and send it to you real quick. I literally said the exact same thing a week or two ago. Literally,
the thing is,
it felt like
I fully agree with Fonz, right? And I know people, they will say like I hate Xbox or whatever, even though I have owned every single Xbox, and during the 360 days it was my primary, right? At least for the second portion of uni, anyway. But the thing is, like I always say, the reason for that is because they keep doing strategy moves since the 360. That are misaligned with what I would prefer or what I think is conducive to their business. So, for example, shifting to Connect or this like all digital TV thing, and then splitting the SKU with a weaker like. It's one of the reasons I'm kind of frustrated with PlayStation right now with the PS6 handheld, and I understand loads of people want it and come at me for knocking it, but I actually do not want the PS6 to be held back by a much weaker handheld, right? I understand there's upscaling. Maybe they'll do a smarter job of it.
Nib, I don't even think.
I think we got to see how they actually manage that, because like the thing is, the Series S
down to that though. I don't think the Series S is really the issue. What I think the issue is that everything that they've tried with new franchises, let's say, has all been these smaller games, like your South of Midnights. And don't get me wrong,
I was going to say, but
it's a bigger game, but it's not. It doesn't really feel AAA.
I was going to say, it's from a development perspective, right? They've went from developing on one platform to now developing on PC simultaneously, and now they're having to develop potentially on other consoles simultaneously. I know the PS6 versions sometimes come out a little bit later and sometimes day and day, but in terms of like the pressure on development studios, that is a lot of extra time, resources, manpower, etc., that has to be taken away on porting work, right? So I can imagine from a development perspective, if I would, that would be troublesome. Like suddenly you've gone from doing work from the ground up for a single piece of fixed hardware. Then not only is that hardware split into two, but then you've got to develop for PC and for PlayStation as well.
Well, that's a lot. It's also why we've seen a lot of AA developers not build for the Xbox as well. We've seen some just not do it. However, I just wanted to say that Xbox does have these tentpole titles and these great, compelling titles like Gears E-Day, I think, is going to be a big one. Forza Horizon is always a big one. Forza Horizon's always. Fable, I don't know. I want it to be a really good game.
The jury's out on Fable still, I think.
Exactly. And that's only because of what I've seen with like Avowed and Outer Worlds and stuff like that. Look, I just want them to build really good, compelling new franchises. And yes, I know a lot of Xbox guys hate when I say this, but Xbox, yes, they pride themselves on having a variety of different genres and all these different games, but they need to make more games that like these third-person action games. Like they don't really make any of those aside from like your Gears.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Gears is like a once in a generational thing now. Like we're going to get E-Day, and then when are we going to get the next one? Who knows? Who
knows? It'll be it'll be a while.
So I don't know why they don't try to build something awesome like that, like a third. A Sony game. I'll just say it. And they get mad when I do that, but I'm like, they don't have those cinematic experiences outside of Gears. They just don't.
Yeah, and
Indies
I don't know why they don't
Indies
try
there now too.
The indies are there.
So third person, it would be better. If it was third.
But the problem with indie is it does Indiana Jones' name doesn't resonate with the youth, and number two, when everybody was getting excited about indie, we were thinking third person. Then when they showed that it was first person, I think the wind kind of went out of the sails.
They need to do another re-release of it and just have like what Capcom does with Resident Evil and just have a third-person mode. I think seen with Avatar. They did the third person of Avatar. I played the DLC of that for Avatar after playing the main game like a couple of years ago. And the third person was always the way to go for that game. So indie, if anybody at Microsoft pays attention to the community at all, give a third person to that mode.
Did you play it? Yeah, it was really puzzle heavy.
Yeah.
You don't really use it often.
And I know indie for me personally.
And I know indie doesn't traditionally use a gun that often in the game, but I'm like, this is a game. Let's use
yeah. Why are we being so real all the time, Fonz? Right? I agree with you. It's a video game.
I loved it. It wasn't going to appeal to the masses. Let's be honest.
So real quick here, let me. I'll let.
It was a
Death
quality
Singer
title. I'll give them that.
It was 100%.
Quality.
I need to get in on that real quick because I view Xbox. I want them to keep making your RPG AA indie. No, because I need to push back against this.
If they sell the way they do,
no.
It's all they make, though. It is all they make.
No. Thing is, I want them to keep making this because this is the shit I enjoy. Right now, great games could come from anywhere. Like Slay the Spire 2, for example, just released, critical acclaim, absolutely amazing game. That is a great game.
How many times do we want to play cards? I mean, come on, man.
Well, many people did.
Balatro took the world by storm, and the one before that took the world by storm. It's like, come on.
But wait a minute, wait, hold up. But Death Singer is comparing a hit to something like Avowed that didn't sell.
No, but I want more of that. I don't want if you make a good game, it doesn't have to be this AAA cinematic.
No, I agree.
System sellers.
I agree.
But I'm not on the system, so I don't care.
You need compelling titles regardless of what they look like. Regardless of what they look like. But I'm saying this, Death Singer, they have enough of those games that you like. Why don't they make one that I like?
Yeah, how about the rest of us, Death Singer?
I agree with that point, but I don't
or with the masses like.
Death Singer, think about this for a second. What have we talked about on the show for the past year? You're like, oh, I can't wait for Avowed. You get your type of game there. Then I can't wait for Outer Worlds 2. You got your type of game there. Oh, I can't wait for this. You got your game there. It's like and now Fable. I can't wait to play Fable. I gotta be honest with you, Death Singer I've known for a very long time. I think Death Singer is one of the CEOs at Microsoft. I'm not sure. We don't know, but I think they're making everything that Death Singer likes.
It's not Phil's fault.
It's Death Singer's fault.
I agree Xbox should make a God of War, but I think the studios that are currently doing what they're doing, they should stay doing that, and you assign it to someone like the Coalition.
That's fine.
The biggest studios.
Fine.
And get them to make your Sad Dad Simulator, and then keep like Obsidian or In Exile and these kinds of studios on these smaller games that I really, really enjoy. Because if they move away,
you're too small in number, Death Singer.
Because I don't want 7 years for a game. I don't want to have to fucking.
Death Singer, let me ask you this though: would you want them to keep doing that and then run the risk of being closed? Because that's what is on the cards.
There it is, Nib. There it is.
Yeah.
Well, it also depends what they view as success and what they plan to do next. So it's like, will a game hit? Will it won't? I don't know. I mean, companies are fickle. Look at Bluepoint. Arguably, you could say they put out some great games, but Bluepoint still.
But they didn't sell. I remember I was actually in the Spaces talking about this, right? Because there was a slide from the Insomniac leaks that had all of Bluepoint's games. Admittedly, the sales numbers were not up to date. They were like whatever they reported, at the time. But I remember the total was like 7.6 million, and we know that Demon's Souls went on to sell a bit more, another 600k copies. So let's just say 8.5 million, right? To be liberal, right? Let's give them 8.5 million instead of the 7.6 million that they listed in that image. And I remember saying, look, as much as I fucking love those remakes, Shadow of the Colossus, I've played multiple times. Demon's Souls, I played multiple times. When I heard the Bluepoint news, I literally loaded up Demon's Souls again. Still state of the art, still blows my mind. Right? But again, the mass market, I'm not speaking for the mass market. 7.6 million with high production costs and this and that, and fewer remakes to make. And obviously, there's the Bloodborne stuff, there's FromSoft politics and stuff, so they're not doing that. I said in that Spaces, I don't know if financially PlayStation actually has the faith in those remakes, and hence they were dilly-dallying with other stuff. And that's kind of what the insider reports are, right? That they didn't actually even want another remake done because it didn't make financial sense. Because not every remake is like a Last of Us, right? A gangbusters selling game. These niche other titles that we love and that are part of nostalgia, they never sold great then, and they're never not going to sell great now. So yeah, as much as you love those games, Death Singer, and it's like the whole high guard thing, we got to look at the broader market, because what you do not want is, I want another remake. They make a fucking remake and then they get closed down because they didn't do well. You'd rather have them make something that is successful so they can continue making amazing games.
Shout out real quick. Death Singer, if you don't mind, let me just introduce Brap. Thank you for joining us, and the great Death Singer, who is here now. I appreciate both of you guys being here, but I don't usually go in reverse order for super chats. I usually go in order that they come in. But real quick, Babor had a question for you, Fonz. He says, he goes, Ragnarok is better than God of War. Horizon Forbidden West better than Horizon Zero Dawn, except the ending, he says. Yotei better than Tsushima, and Death Stranding 2 is better. What are you saying? Please explain.
That's an opinion, sir, and I disagree with you on
I agree, though. GT7 as well.
I think Ragnarok was worse than 2018. That's my opinion.
In what way?
I hated the first 10 hours. Absolutely hated it. There was so many puzzles, so many like just boring moments.
You didn't have Atreus telling you every 2 seconds how to solve it?
Yes, I did. And that was horrible too. But no, this is just opinion for me. I'm not talking for anybody else because it sold like gangbusters. It was a hit. I'm not going to deny it.
Sold 4.5 times faster than God of War.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm not shitting on it like the sales or anything. They're doing what they're supposed to do over there. I'm just talking about for me, I didn't like it. And then there was what else did he mention?
He mentioned Horizon Forbidden West over Horizon Zero Dawn.
Zero Dawn in like every aspect.
That I agree.
I cannot stand Horizon Forbidden West. It's like my most hated PlayStation game of all time.
Now Zero Dawn, I can understand. It was a little bit lot slower.
I tried. I have hours in Horizon. I tried to beat that thing, but my God, it was so boring. So boring. Every time you go to a camp, it would force that stupid dialogue wheel. You'd be talking to people for 20 minutes, and you're like, I just want to.
But how did? But Fonz, now Fonz,
like dialogue
hold on, wait, Fonz,
it was so annoying.
I can understand your point, but I don't know how you got through Outer Worlds 2 then. That game put me in a coma.
I like Outer Worlds. I like that.
That's conversation that won't end.
I understand it, Mooch, because Outer Worlds is a bit more characterful and funny, and it's got quirkiness and wit. I understand what he's saying. Horizon
dialogue.
Horizons is a bit more dry. Some of the dialogue.
Yes,
right? Some of the writing.
I'll ride along with you there, but
here's the thing, though, Mooch. I liked Zero Dawn. I didn't love it. I liked it.
Okay.
So I'm not a big fan of that franchise anymore.
I loved it.
But
I think
Ghost of
the mech
Tsushima,
stuff.
Oh, I love Ghost of Tsushima over Yotei. I love Jin's character.
Okay, so the story.
And the story was better in Jin Sakai.
Wait. What don't you like about the protagonist?
I don't like the protagonist at all in
Yotei. I know, but what don't you like about her?
I just don't like her. I don't like her at all.
Not an answer.
I just don't.
I need specifics.
It's a personal thing. It's a personal thing. I don't like her. I don't like her as a person in real life. And that's what it is.
Oh, so you associated her with a real actress? Come on. We're talking about
I cannot stand her.
Talking about that game.
And also, too, Jin Sakai was such a good protagonist.
I can agree with that.
One of the most underrated protagonists.
I can agree with that. I like Jin.
Bro, I was waiting for a sophomore outing with Jin Sakai. And when I didn't get that, I was automatically biased.
No, but the thing about the Ghost of Yotei, you can have opinions about the story. I personally like Jin's story more. I can agree to that.
Yeah, I like Jin's story.
But the Ghost of Yotei, in every other aspect of the game,
I think
leaps and bounds over Tsushima.
I'll tell you what. I will give it credit that the open world is much better.
Open world is fantastic. How they manage that.
It's less like Ubisoft than it is. Because
another thing I'll say,
like
which
Ubisoft.
is
open world.
I agree, and I was going to say another thing. That because a lot of times some of the complaints I hear about these kind of Sony cinematic games is that they're like button mashers or they're very simple. And I'm saying this as someone who's beaten the Soulsborne game, who's beaten Elden Ring, who's beaten Shadow of the Erdtree, didn't even find it very difficult, right? Just beat Neo 3 like a few years ago, played all these games, right? Ghost of Yotei on the hardest difficulty for me was more challenging than all of those games. Which is really funny because
you know what?
What was his name? The guy on the mountain?
Yeah, Takezo, whatever.
Yeah,
oh my god! That
Lord! I beat him on
shit ever. Oh my god!
Guys,
I beat him on Nightmare.
So annoying.
And that was. I still have nightmares about it.
One of my buddies still won't complete his game because he hasn't beaten him, and he still hasn't beaten him. I'm like, bro, just let it go. Finish the game. Just don't do it. He's like,
funny
no.
That's a side quest. I mean, he doesn't have
Legends,
to.
Right?
Yeah, it is. It's a side quest. You don't have to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, in Legends, by the way, if you've beaten Takezo on the mountain, the final version of they give you these skins with like lightning gold guild on the swords. And so I wear them in Legends. And someone asked me, he was like, "Oh, how did you get that? Because I can't see any way to unlock it in the Legends thing." I was like, "Oh, you've got to do it in the campaign. You've got to beat Takezo." And straight away he was like, "Nah, fuck that. can't beat that." He was like, "Forget that."
No, for me, my tactic with him, I saw how, like, especially when you get frozen, that's when you're dying. When you get to that part, your health is frozen. It's so damn cheap. So what I did was be so cheap with him. I did not give him one chance to attack me the whole time. I canceled out his animations the whole time. He didn't hit me once. It went from
with the revolver thing,
battered.
right?
I did bombs, the gun, everything. Anytime I took out his weapon, it drops on the floor. He tries to run for it, and I'm like, "Nah, you're not getting that."
Yeah,
Boom, cancel out his animation. Cancel. You're not doing anything the whole time.
I think that's I think some people in the chat misinterpreted what I was saying earlier. When I was talking about those games, I never said they were bad games. I said I didn't care for them as much as I did the originals. I still liked them. I still played them. Like, you know what I'm saying? It appealed, these games, despite what I think, they appealed to the masses. And my whole point was, I want to see Xbox build games like that appeal to the masses. We could all have our own opinions on games. Like Death Singer likes a lot of these smaller titles and stuff that Xbox is doing over there that don't resonate with the masses. But I'm saying they should also build games.
Right. You're not saying they should stop those games. Again, and I love Death Singer's enthusiasm for games. I played a good amount. I did not finish it, but I've got about 25 to 30 hours into Avowed. I played Avowed for a while. And don't get me wrong, the charm there, the magic, the fact that you had a sword in one hand, magic spells in the other, the world was so colorful, vibrant. I didn't even mind some of the storytelling in it. Got a little bit long at the end. But Death Singer's games, that's not a problem. But like you said, the one thing about it is can we have something else? And Death Singer, you always grade everything on just what you like. And I get that. That's fair. That's a very fair thing. But then sometimes you just have to step out of your shoes for a minute, just a minute, and say, is there a portfolio here that's diverse enough? And that goes across all platforms. They all have to do this.
See, I agree. They should make some of those big mass market selling games. But they have enough studios now where they can where they can entertain both markets if they play their cards right. Right? You have enough. You could keep Obsidian and In Exile doing what they're doing. You could keep Undead Labs doing what they're doing because that's the shit I enjoy. The day they stop making that is the day I just give up on them completely. So I'm like, okay, so do that, but assign your Gears and your whatnots and your coalitions and all your bigger studios and get them to do these God of Wars and whatnot. And then both sides can be happy, but it's like I just like these smaller experiences because this, it's got a lot more heart than the AAA games.
I'm wondering
if I could put my console war on.
He's saying that Xbox already makes those games. You just don't like them. No,
I was gonna. That's exactly what I was gonna talk on.
The masses don't like them because
that's exactly what I was gonna talk on.
And nor do Game Pass subscribers like them as much as you think.
Yeah, because the numbers aren't there. They're really not there.
I was going to say, so there is a kind of conspiracy, right? That the market and media and stuff, they're kind of they glaze PlayStation basically, right? And I'm saying this as someone who plays on all these platforms: Nintendo, PlayStation, and even a bit of PC, even my Mac. I play bloody games on my Mac as well. And I'm saying, genuinely, there is a distinct difference in quality and production from PlayStation Studios' best and Xbox's best, right? Even if you take something like Gears,
even
Gears
third party and PlayStation,
and PlayStation, yeah, but even Gears 5, right? The new characters, I forgot even their name, Kat and whatever her name, Dom's son, what was his name?
Kate and James, and
Kate and James, yeah.
JD.
It's like even the writing, the emotion, the sense of narrative storytelling. Like you're never going to get what you get with like a Kratos or with a Ellie and Joel or a Nathan Drake and
they need to head it out of the park with E-Day though. They need to head it out of the park.
They need to head it out of the park. But even with Halo Infinite, right? You move to this like open world and this and that. Like there's so look at the caliber of open world games we have these days, right?
See, I disagree with you on Gears. Even Gears 5, I think it held a level of quality that was just as good as a PlayStation game. I love Gears.
But okay, fine.
I love
and then you get Halo Infinite, right? So in a time where, say, for Witcher 3, like we have like Bloody Barons, we have side quests in like God of War, for example, where you're taking on unique dragons in entire different worlds, right? That are completely missable. Even Uncharted 4, it has a section in Madagascar where entire set pieces you can actually miss, and that's a strictly linear game, right? And then you have something like Halo Infinite. You have this really fun grapple. You have this big open world, and then they put the most menial, mundane, repetitive, boring ass design, like free these destroy these silos, free these soldiers over and over and over again. And I'm like, where's the kind of like the dynamic emergent stuff where you find new characters and new stories? And, you know, like even in Red Dead 2, right? KKK and some lady strips you naked and you find yourself in a barn house.
You can't compare Rockstar to anybody. Rockstar.
Okay, but then all these other studios, even Resident Evil Requiem, has such a high level of production. And some of the, I know you haven't got very far on it, but there are certain set pieces and certain story moments and stuff that they have some of that like spectacle. There's other times they have some of that like, you know, richness and detail in the immersion.
What do you think of the bridge moment?
I'm saying
with the bike.
Yeah.
Oh, that was very good. That was
insane, dude.
Very good.
That was like an Uncharted moment.
That was the closest thing to an Uncharted moment I could probably give. Yeah.
I was like, Capcom is taking
well,
it.
Let's not belittle the great. Shout out to Jay Barry for this one. Let's not forget the great action series on the bikes as well in Final Fantasy. Let's not forget those. Those are fantastic as well.
Yeah, and I think that's why those games have the critical reception and the fan adoration they do comparative to stuff. Like, I don't think when someone writes a review on PS10 or Xbox, they're like, just like they paid for the game, right? They would want it to love it, but even the fans, the user scores, I don't mean on Metacritic, fuck Metacritic, like any Tom, Dick, and Harry can review on there, right? I'm talking about strictly purchase confirmed. If you look at Steam, if you look at PSN, if you know, these kind of games, like even Resident Evil Requiem, I think it's like 9.5 or 95% or something on PSN. God of War Ragnarok's like 96%. Like, people adore these games, whereas like a Gears 5 is still highly rated, but it's like, I think like, you know, the high 80s or something like that. Or, you know, and the Starfield was much worse. I think it's in 64% on Xbox and 58% on Steam. So, you know, there's just a different level of adoration. And
let me do this.
Starfield's on 58% on Steam. Really?
Yeah.
That's not sitting pretty well at all. Give me 1 second, guys. I want to read these super chats and I want to get Brap involved on what he thought about GDC real quick before we change subjects here. Gaming Ledger says, I'm pretty sure the custom SoC, this is when we were talking about, we're going back to Helix here for a second, is not custom like a traditional console, but it's custom in the sense that it uses that its use case is specific. Lisa Su hinted that the chip will be commercially available. So that's something we keep saying custom, but it will be commercially available, I believe. So it is an interesting talking point.
Semi-custom, I believe.
Semi-custom is more proper, I think, on that one. Babor says, I don't think you'll be able to legally access Steam. Does not make sense financially. Why make the device? I hope Sony does delist all games on there. So the Babor, we all know how Babor feels. Babor, thank you for the super chat. Stage says, how will Xbox power struggle with PlayStation not be later muted after an early perception victory? The Pro will arrive with iterative PSSR at lowered cost. Yeah, we kind of talked about that, Stage. We said, you know, I think it was Fonz or it could have been even Nib that said, basically, let's not forget that we do have to consider PSSR and where that will be at the PS6 level. So, Stage, we did discuss that. Thank you for bringing it up. Yeah. And Mariko, shout out to Brian East. He says the issue was the parity clause on Xbox. This is when you guys were talking about the Series S maybe being the problem. He says the issue was the parity clause on Xbox Series and how the X was held back by the S. Always has been. PS6 doesn't need to make that same mistake. Thank you for that, Brian East. Brap, welcome to the show, buddy. I'm sure you still have your coach whistle on, so if things get rowdy here, you can just blow the whistle. We'll stop. Great to have Coach back. Brap, what did you think from what you saw at GDC? I'm gonna get yours and Death Singer's take before we kind of go on to the next subject.
Well, I'll tell you what, Mooch. I feel like Freddie Peralta right now. I'm all iced up.
Oh, jeez! Shout out to Freddie Peralta, by the way.
Yeah, I was throwing batting practice, and so that's always it's always fun. You know, it's always fun like pitching his 12-year-olds where they got these like juice like $400 UAA bats.
Yeah, those bats are unbelievable. We didn't have those when we were younger. I'll tell you that much.
No. I mean, like the exit velo's like 78 miles an hour. So you gotta have quick reflexes.
Yeah, you better get behind that pitcher's that indentation there. Yeah, believe me, I remember those days.
Yeah, so but it's great to be here. I'm sorry, Mooch. What was the question you asked me about?
Basically, just what you thought about Helix and the GDC announcement, if you had anything like that. But Bespoke, thank you so much for that. Fantastic. Just a huge shout out to Bespoke. Thanks for supporting me here and over on Twitch. Bespoke, thank you, brother. He says, hit that like button. Nerds, he loves to give the chat a bit of slack there. Bespoke, thank you so much. Go ahead, Brad.
Yeah, no, I can't say it was we learned a whole lot of new information.
Right.
The one thing that kind of stood out was kind of raised a bit of an eyebrow for me was Jason Ronald saying and I'm paraphrasing, he said something to the effect that there's no longer console, mobile, or PC gamers or something to that effect. And I'm like, what? Like, no, actually there is, Jason. Like we sit like the gaming industry, so the market's so stratified now. It's so much different than when it was when I started gaming 40 something years ago. You do have PC gamers, you do have mobile gamers, you do have console gamers. Yeah, is there some crossover? Absolutely, but generally speaking, I mean, like for him to say that, I thought was
well. That's one of the things I say all the time, and I know that everybody on this panel is
talking
a big
more personally in that situation because I talk to him often, and he views everybody as gamers, and I think that's just a personal thing.
The thing is, though, Fonz.
I mean, I get that.
I get that too.
But he said like there's no longer that distinction, and that's just not true. I mean, we could pull all the market data and behavior and spend we want, and we can show that. But it's one thing to say, hey, look, we're all gamers. I agree with that, but I don't agree with saying that no, there's no longer such a thing as a PC gamer and a console gamer and a mobile gamer, because that's just not true. I mean, like you look at the
maybe at Xbox it is true for their games.
I mean,
think about it.
I guess, but even then, I mean, that's still untrue because, well, Xbox makes
mobile, handhelds, consoles, PS6.
But that doesn't change. That doesn't change.
That's still a different platform.
Yeah, that's just.
I think he's talking about their console, though. They're talking about Helix.
If he's saying their ecosystem exists,
their ecosystem, yes,
amongst different platforms, yeah. But he didn't say that. He said there's no longer
he's trying to change that mindset, Fonz. And that's the sales pitch that they're putting forth. I get that.
Yeah, that's more. That's
more marketing.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Yeah, but it's kind of interesting. Like I've been saying, this thing is PC based. It's going to be running games, and basically it's think of it like it's a gaming PC or PC platform.
Mm-hmm.
Games will be running in Windows runtime, which is different from Xbox currently. And that's pretty much it. Like it's funny. I talked to a colleague who used to work in the gaming industry. He's a software engineer, and he follows this stuff a little bit, and I talked to him about it. He said that he felt like Helix. He said like Helix isn't a traditional console. He said it's definitely more PC-like, running Windows with GDK support. He said that kind of suggests to him at least that Xbox games will run without needing the usual console runtime. He said essentially it's a PC version of a game. He's like, and that's kind of the big differentiator from Series X and S. And it sounds like he says, one of the things he says, like with the GDK, it seems like they're trying to. Like the runtime environment will be Windows, but they're going to try to integrate a lot of the Xbox ecosystem features into these games on a PC platform. And so he's like, it's going to be interesting if they can pull that off. So what he means by that, like things like your gamer tag, your gamer score, everything that like you're used to on the console side in terms of the console experience. Having that on the PC side, have it integrate seamlessly through PC and other platforms. So that was kind of his 2 cents. So I thought it was kind of interesting, but we'll see. I mean, I think it's a very interesting concept that Microsoft's doing. I keep telling folks like be prepared for some sticker shock because I keep hearing this thing's going to be north of $1,000.
Yeah.
And so I mean, like they're going to leave a lot of Xbox gamers behind at that price point.
Yeah, and I think
I have sticker shock now with the consoles even. So,
yeah, that's.
I think it might be
700.
Might be the first generation they leave me behind, because I just think at that point, why would I just not spend an extra £300-400 or whatever and just get a piece?
Well, that's it.
Well,
So
if you can afford that,
yeah,
you gotta understand.
Well, Fonz, there starts to be a point here where, like I said, we said this when the show first started. Xbox did a good job of moving me off their platform. I have a Series X, of course, but right now, if Helix stands with what we know today, I have my gaming PC, so I will buy any new Xbox games I have and I want on Steam there, and then I have the Xbox Series X for old games, right?
Oh, I did that last year. I got rid of my Series X and I just have my gaming PC because Xbox is there.
That's where it is now. So I do have to agree with Nib. It's either you did what me and you did, Fonz, right? And Brap did the same thing also. Or you have a situation where if you're still on Xbox only right now, you're either considering this, or if you're considering going to 1,200, or if it happens to go to 1,500, I don't know if it will. You might as well throw those few extra dollars in and get yourself a better gaming PC and have the best of all worlds over there.
That most people don't talk about is the fact that this is still going to be a closed ecosystem. So you won't be able to get in there and actually, replace RAM and
which is another deterrent, Fonz.
And so that's where when people say, well, this will speak to the PC gamers, and I'm like, yeah, it might, because it's a decent price if the specs do pan out the way they are, and we get a decent price. And by decent, I even mean 1,500. That might even be decent if these specs are true. However, PC gamers also like to tinker.
They love
also like to upgrade.
Absolutely.
And if they can't upgrade, that might stop them from doing so. They might spend the extra 500 and just get something comparable or a little bit better that they could actually upgrade in the future.
That's right. And go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, Mooch. Go ahead, Death Singer.
The GDC thing was interesting because they said a lot of buzzwords, and it's like every time they do these tech presentations, right, they throw out a whole bunch of big words, and a lot of people are like, "Woo, path tracing, woo this, woo that, woo this," right? Old shit. We already have.
Death Singer, that's a great Ric Flair impersonation, by the way.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. The thing is, it's like through all this, and this is AMD's solution to this. Now, as everyone knows, AMD, when it comes to ray tracing and path tracing, it loses to NVIDIA every single time. But once you turn off ray tracing, it actually beats NVIDIA cards in just standard rasterization, right? So I'm looking at AMD and I'm like, sure, they're using their latest new architecture, but it's still AMD. So I still have to question mark it. Regardless of whatever magic sauce they try and spin you, it's still AMD at the end of the day. So we have to wait and see. But then a lot of these words that people are championing, like 20 times faster ray tracing. Well, 20 RDNA 2 and 3 is such dog shit ray tracing that 20 times that is probably what RDNA 4 maybe. So like it's not really that big of a jump. And then they pulled the biggest hoodwink, right? Because they're selling you a PC where you have to pay to play online. Right now, PC players don't have to pay to play online, but this is a PC where you have to pay for Xbox Live.
That's what we were talking about.
We don't know that fully. Right?
We don't really know, but
how are they going to get around?
I'm with you, Death Singer. I think they will.
The thing is, this is the problem, right? If they go, well, you can Steam on it. Well, they need to have a deal with Steam. They need to work out something with Gabe, because Gabe is going to be like, right, you're going to have to do some. Give me a good fucking deal for this shit, because my store is far superior to yours. So it's like, well, you got to work something out. So I wonder how that's going to pan out, because Steam being on there is a whole wrinkle in of itself. But I saw it and I was like, so this is a nothing burger. They're telling you kind of performance targets. They're saying 120 FPS, but then they're like, well, we're selling you frame gen. That's another big thing, right? If they don't allow you to go in and turn off particular stuff like frame gen and whatnot, then they'll sell you. It could do 4K 120 FPS with ray tracing on, but they don't tell you frame gen's on. And they let frame gen get you up to that FPS, right?
Well, unfortunately,
and you won't have the option to turn off frame gen.
Yeah, even PC games nowadays are pushing towards that route, especially with UE5. UE5 is the most unoptimized when it comes to most of the studios out there, and for some reason, it's just so resource heavy that some of the games, like, they force you to use frame gen, and so it's not just a console thing. That's something I think we're going down the road of. It sucks because I've been advocating for proprietary engines for years now, because since UE5, because of the unoptimization. And case in point, Capcom, their engine, you're able to run path tracing and everything on a good high-end PC and still get over 100 frames. You don't need frame gen. You shouldn't need frame gen to run games at a good performance rate. But unfortunately, a lot of these studios just can't optimize UE5, and that sucks. And UE5 is being pushed so much. If you look at the amount of games that are coming out on UE5, it's staggering.
Yeah.
Crimson Desert's another one. Pro Abyss with their proprietary engine. It's very performant, very good.
The thing is, it's stuff like FrameGen and DLSS upscalers, they become a crutch, right?
Yes, they are.
And FrameGen is a crutch for developers because they can cut corners and then just rely on FrameGen to get to the frame rate.
Yeah, what I'm telling you though is it's been a necessary crutch for a lot of these developers.
It has been, because getting native 4K, like if you run a game, like native 4K is a dream. That's a pipe dream, right? Because if you look at a 5090, if you run a game maxed out, completely maxed out, like you run Red Dead 2 or whatever, or some other game, right? You run it completely maxed out, native 4K, everything on ultra, ray tracing on, and you don't use DLSS, you're 30 FPS. A 50 fucking 90, and you're 30 FPS at native 4K. Once you turn DLSS on, and you turn all the other bells and whistles on, the frame rate shoots up. But then, of course, you're not running native 4K, you're upscaling. So it's like the days of them selling you native is over. Like, it's been over, but now it's like officially over, because they're going to go, have multi-frame gen, have this PSSR.
You also have to add in all the ray tracing, the path tracing, all that stuff is very resource heavy. So,
very.
Yeah. So, and look, even with these new CPUs and these next gen consoles and stuff, they're going to push them to the freaking limit, and you're going to need that frame gen. That's why it's there, because I'm telling you, tech doesn't stop. It doesn't hold up and wait for you. There'll be a new path tracing, new freaking, bells and whistles to turn on these games, and you're just going to have to suffer the consequences and use frame gen or run it at 30 FPS. That's just the way it is nowadays.
Look at Nvidia. They just released the latest thing from them, the Mega Geometry, which handles massive scenes and updates them. So basically, a big open world, it enables faster performance on ray tracing and path tracing, right? So they've already got something that can actually handle path tracing in a big open world. So, and they just released that at GDC. They announced their GDC. NVIDIA announced a whole bunch of things. And it's like,
is that through software?
Yeah.
Yeah, because what I've heard is like the hardware is getting tapped out. Like we can only go so far because of power consumption.
Well, everything's AI in now. So of course,
so now it's like
AI for everything.
It's all software.
So guys,
going forward, they just got to develop new tricks and things to get it there.
So I got a couple super chats here, and then I'm going to ask you guys, and I want to get Brap. You had something. I hope you wrote it down, because when Death Singer goes first, you do have to realize it's going to be a minute, which I appreciate, by the way, DS. So shout out to Death Singer. JC 2013. First of all, JC, thank you for always coming over as well on Twitch and support me over there. JC says, hit that like button. Guys, 352 people. Let's get that like button hit, please. Matui, I always say it wrong. 6802, pardon me for saying it wrong. He says, what are the most played games on platforms? They are not the games you are all talking about. Yeah, well, we know that the most played games are the Fortnites, the Apex, the Call of Duties. We know that. We definitely know that. We're talking about a little bit more in the community-based discussion points. So everybody is not wrong in that case, but I understand your point. I appreciate the super chat. The Gaming Ledger says, Singer has a point about AMD. Cerny and company is on pace to catching DLSS before FSR does, based on what we are seeing with PSSR 2.0. Soros will be UE5. Interesting. I did not think Soros would be a UE5 game. Is that news to only me? I really did not know that. I didn't think that was going to be the case.
Yeah. The original was.
Was that you? So. That was UE what? That wasn't UE5.
That was UE4. Yeah. So yeah.
Okay, natural progression makes sense. Okay. All right, thank you. Appreciate that. Brap, Brap, do you remember what you were going to say?
Yeah. No, Death Singer brought up a point about. Oh, now I forgot. You jinxed it. No, I'm just kidding. Something about like how are they going to get people to pay to play online on the Helix? I think that's what you said, right, Death Singer?
He was trying to figure out how they would do that and how they would correlate that with Steam.
I think they're going to just tell people that this thing's a console and people will buy into it.
I mean,
a console, and in their minds, they're like, "Hey, this is what I traditionally do on my Xbox console. This is an Xbox console, and therefore I'm going to continue paying for
Well, right now, Xbox Gold.
At that point, you might as well just get a PC realistically, because the Xbox UI is going to be there as well.
I don't disagree.
And the backwards compatibility.
And the backwards compatibility is going to be on your PC, on all of our PCs.
Yeah. Exactly. They're pretty much putting everything there. I think it's going to be very hard.
Emulators, all sorts. You can just you have a lot more.
It's going to be very hard for them to be like pay for online when we also have Steam.
But here's the thing, though, and I don't, and this isn't the entire Xbox community, but I think Gary Whitta's kind of coined this this kind of characterization of some of the Xbox community when he talked about, this is an Xbox, that, the since retired marketing slogan of everything's an Xbox or whatever, where he said like we know that's not, or was it the ROG Ally X? I remember. He says about the fact like, hey, we know what an Xbox is. That's not an Xbox. And, some of those folks who were like, beating their desk and saying, no, this is an Xbox. He said our marketing team's dream, because they're suckers. And I'm like, yeah, there's a lot in the Xbox community, not everyone, who, live by the Bible of Xbox and will, not push back or question anything that they say to them. And I think those are the individuals. They'll look at this and say, it's a console because they told me it's a console. And I will continue interacting with this device as if it's a console when it's not. And I will forego.
There's one problem with that, though.
Yeah.
If Steam is on that platform, and if you try to charge online play for Steam games you buy, there's a lot of legal stuff you got to. There's antitrust laws. There's all kinds of stuff they're going to get in trouble for. There's going to be lawsuits. That can't happen. No way you can.
I mean.
There has to be a way that they can decipher. I don't know. Though. Is there a way that they can
charge
if you? But Fonz, if you, but don't forget, Fonz. Steam will be an app right on there. So when you click into that app, you're essentially leaving the Xbox part of that machine. You're going into the Steam. You would not be.
Do we know if it's going to be an app?
No, we don't. No, we don't.
It's Windows.
We don't. But they said you'll be able to play your PC games.
Windows is on this thing.
Right. So I'm just saying. I think that they'll have to decipher when you're in the Steam app. And no, TC, to answer your question, I don't think they came out and said Steam yet. But let's be honest. Yeah. To say you're going to be able to play your PC games,
not in the sense that they're going to have your PC Steam games. I do think that's going to be there. I'm saying in the sense of it being a separate app, a separate thing, because the whole idea here is if they make things separate between Xbox and PC, this whole idea of combining both worlds just falls flat. So I think the idea here is to bring everything into one unified UI. So if somebody sees their Steam game next to their, Xbox One title, that's what I think they're going for.
I'll tell you. Never say never on the internet. Yeah. You never speak in absolutes, but I got to tell you something. That's something they have not even been able to do on the Xbox ROG Ally, and they worked hand in hand. Yeah. So I don't know if that's going to be...
I'm just telling you, if you buy a Steam game and it's online play, if you try to charge on top of that, that is going to trigger some litigation.
No. But I guess my point is I think people... let me just...
if you're talking about the console portion of it, like the Xbox, well, it's easy how they're going to do it. They're just going to keep charging more into Game Pass.
That's
how they'll make up for it.
What I was getting at is if people are inside that Xbox ecosystem, that's why I said like they'll continue to do and treat this thing like an Xbox console, meaning that they'll engage with this thing as if it's an Xbox. But I do think if it's a scenario kind of like with like any like Windows handheld, right? Like if you launch a game through Steam, multiplayer is free because that's just how the PC works, right?
Yeah. Right.
But if you're launching a game through the Xbox storefront, then that's probably a difference. That's
right.
They're gonna tell you that you're not paying for online play, but you'll be paying for it through Game Pass. Those that are on Game Pass anyway, they'll be paying for it.
Interesting. So let me reverse you guys a scenario real quick. Have you guys thought about the Steam machine And would we be able to? It wouldn't be able as easy as just going to the store on there and buying it or downloading it. Pardon me. But would you be able to have the Xbox mode on your Steam machine that's rumored to be coming out this year?
Or why would you? Like, the thing is, it's like, why would you?
Well, you can play all your Xbox games now on your back compact games on a more than capable device.
Well, the thing is, it's like Steam, even Steam has its own big picture mode, right? If you want to use a controller.
Yeah.
Like, Steam has its own interface.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, you wouldn't need that Windows interface on the Steam machine. Like, you could just do it, or you could just automatically have, when you turn on the console, the Steam store just boots up in big screen mode. Right? So you're automatically just in there with the controller.
But that's for Steam. I'm talking about, wouldn't it be something if you could just grab the Steam machine, and the same way on Steam Deck that you can go through you have to go through a series of events, but you can get your Xbox Game Pass on your Steam Deck right now. So you should be able to do that on your Steam machine.
If they let you sideload Windows, the thing is, it's like, we're not entirely sure. Are you allowed to do what you can do on Steam?
Right, it'll be a workaround. It's going to be a workaround,
because, you can do it, but you need to sideload Windows, right? And if you don't know how to do that, then you can't get Game Pass on the Steam Deck anyway. So
also, I think that they will definitely also restructure Game Pass before this comes out. There's going to be totally
probably more than likely.
Oh, more than likely. I just think the Steam machine is just gonna, like, it's just a nice little entry level PC point that's probably gonna be cheaper than the Helix. And if you want a little Steam companion device for your living room, you can have that, because then you play your own. Like, I have a massive ass Steam library now. If I can go, I could be playing on my PC in my room, and I'm playing, I don't know, Witcher 4. And then I'm like, okay, cool. Let me go sit in the living room real quick, and then I could just boot up Witcher 4 on there.
I'm not really sure you could have picked the worst example game, but yes, you could do that.
Well, I was just picking some random.
That's going to be a powerhouse of a game. That is I thought you were going to be like, I was going to play. I thought you were going to say like Mugenics or something, and then you were going to go in the living room. Yes, that you could do, but I don't know about.
Machine's going to be smoking.
Yeah, I was going to say it'll be overheating slightly.
You gotta get a red ring of death.
Nah, if you can play around with the settings, and it also depends what tech they put in there. But even if it's like akin to like a 3080, like if they still allow you to have, because it's going to be AMD components, which is kind of a
booty.
But then it's like, hopefully, you have some FSR is good on it, and you could. Go into the set as a PC player does. Go into the settings and adjust it. Turn off the shit you don't need, like the stuff that is so resource intensive but doesn't make a damn difference. It's like sometimes I turn off ambient occlusion, because you turn it off and you're like, I don't really notice a difference. You turn it on and you're like, wow, look at the amount of shit it's using.
Also settings for water.
Oh, yeah. Like the random shit you actually don't need. You just jump into settings, turn it off, and your performance increases, right? So it's got potential. That's why I view the Steam machine as more of my first PC, my entry-level PC. I want to get into PC, but I don't want to have to spend all the money. But I want to still access the Steam store, but I don't want to get a Steam Deck. I want something a bit more performative than the Steam Deck, so I'll just buy the Steam machine.
So
go ahead, bro. It's like my baby's first PC. That is what.
Yeah, it is my baby's first PC.
Listen. It all depending on price. I have my PC. I've got my PS5 Pro. If seemingly the Steam machine came out and it was a decent price, I would think about it for having it in the living room. But to be honest with you, it's gotta. If it's anywhere near the $700 to $900, I'm sorry. No.
Yeah.
No. Because to be honest with you, come on.
I think 7 would be all right.
How can we? Yeah, but Fonz, here's the problem. Maybe it's because we're in this community and I had to deal with hearing it for 6 months. But like the whole, who the hell would want to pay $700 for a PS5 Pro? The Pro is going to be much more powerful than the Steam machine.
I'm not telling you that this thing is going to sell a lot of units.
No. I'm talking about myself personally. I'm just saying, I don't know if I'm okay. But here's the thing. I have something currently in the house, right, Fonz, that I paid $699 for. Okay. And
for us, it would be kind of.
It would be a little insane, I think. Now, let me I'll put a number out there so we don't insult Valve either. If it's $500, You've piqued my interest. But 7, 8 for something that's weaker than the Pro, I can't. It doesn't make a lot of sense. I'll just sit at my PC. You know?
Yeah, you don't have the optimization on that thing as you do the PS5 Pro, right? Nor do you have, obviously the PlayStation first party games, which are going to be super optimized to take advantage of the PS5 Pro. I think it's a fair point, Mooch.
Yeah, I mean, listen, again, I'm just doing dollar for dollar and conversation for conversation. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. I just would hope that Valve, like they did with their Steam Deck, which I bought. I have one. It's and it works very well. But let's be honest, it depends on the game. I don't care about the verified check mark either. It depends on the game and how intense it is, graphically intensive. I mean. And performance, but again, dollars are really going to mean a lot, I think, for this Steam machine. So it's not fair to talk on it. I don't really know. Shout out to Babor. He says a 5090 draws as much power as 50% of your kitchen refrigerator. The heat, noise, and size. PC gaming sucks. He does not. Babor does not like it. He goes, "You have to be tier 3." He says.
Babor it is not consumed.
All right. Yeah, Babor is not a big fan of PC gaming. He's very clear on that. Yes.
Also, Mooch, the thing about that is that if the Steam machine's a good price, it's a great way for people to get a handle on games like, for example, when a Slay the Spire 2 or Mugenics releases, a highly rated game, but it's only available on Steam. So if you don't own a Steam Deck, which is probably the cheapest way to get access to Steam games, because it's a basic Steam Deck is $300 now?
Yeah.
Or something like that, unless they only do the OLED now.
But on that, I don't disagree.
Good.
I was just going to ask though, surely Mugenics is a game that could run on like any laptop or
anything
that people have, because I
run on my
like literally anything.
You can run on a toaster.
Thing is, it could, but I don't think people view stuff like that. I think people are a bit more like, oh, this is just some laptop that I have. I don't think people I used to run on the super budget laptop. I boot up League of Legends, right? We're talking an Intel integrated graphics, and I was running League of Legends. Like, you could run these games on a toaster, sure, but it's like a lot of people just view the laptop as the laptop, and then they view the gaming as the gaming. I don't think they'll go, oh, I could use my laptop to access Mugenics. I think a lot of people don't even think about that. You could download Steam, create an account, and then just play like these really small indie AA games. So I think there'll be more, if it's a good price, the Steam machine might actually be a good entry point, so people don't have to miss out on these cool games that release on Steam. They are cool games.
Yeah, that's it.
I love that you touched on the fact that they had exclusives on PC, because that's something that a lot of PC gamers omit and don't like to talk about, because they love to talk about how, oh, exclusives shouldn't be a thing. We should be able to play everything on our machines. And it's like, yeah, what about Counter-Strike?
Right.
There's so many games that they have exclusive on all these platforms, mind you. You have Fortnite over on Epic. But yeah, they love to talk about how they don't have exclusives, or they omit it anyway.
I will be fair, half of them is like, World of Warcraft by now should be on console. They have no excuse, right? Then you have stuff like League of Legends. They are making a console version. They've already made a mobile version of the game. So they could feasibly make one. I don't know why they haven't yet. Like Valorant has come over to console in some way. CSGO, that's a whole Valve thing. I don't think Gabe gives a shit. So there's that. And
CSGO
bear in mind,
is a lot of money for them.
Also bear in mind, they have the problem of the whole gambling with CSGO, because that makes a shit ton of money, real world money.
Yeah.
That whole gambling scene on CSGO. So that's a thing Microsoft and those would be like, do we really want this on our... but then you have like stuff like Mugenics at Slay the Spire, though, is they're only on PC exclusive because it's way easier to release a game on Steam than it is to release it on a PlayStation or an Xbox. Like, the certification is so much easier to pass. Plus, you've got the whole early access system on Steam, which helped games like Baldur's Gate 3, right? Phenomenal game. That went through early access on Steam, and they helped build it with the community, and then boom, you had this game. So I think it's a lot of games are de facto exclusive because it's just easier to publish on Steam than it is Xbox and PlayStation.
You know, shout out to Alpha in the chat here, and he's a big PC gamer, he says here, but with costs going up on the PC parts, I think just can't compete well with PlayStation. Valve systems get foot in the door for PC gaming, but the Valve might be tough based on money comparable. I think he's basically saying, for a lot of folks right now, okay, I don't know when, Fonz, you built your PC or got your PC, but like everyone that got their PC in 25 going into like early 25 and before, those prices are probably 25 or 30% more to get that same PC now. Dessinger, is that probably true? Is it 15 to 20% more with RAM and other things going through the roof? It's a little bit more expensive. So I think Alf's point, and Alf, if I'm wrong, I think he's trying to say basically, even if the Steam machine is more than we would accept, it's still an entry point into PC gaming that's cheaper than going to build one yourself with current prices, you know?
But bear in mind, a lot of people buy pre-builts, right? They don't build it themselves because
especially now.
Well, that's
the price
fine.
Is actually cheaper with pre-built.
It is.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
It is.
You know what's funny? It's funny Font says that because I was putting together some parts, looking to upgrade to 5080. And like I priced it out, and it's like I'm at $3,000, and like I looked at Alienware, they have a 5080 with 32 gigs of memory, and and all the bells and whistles, and I'm like, it's like $2,100. It's like $1,400 off. I'm like, I might as well go with an Alienware.
Yeah, you may as well buy a pre-built. It's like there's a really good 5070 Ti PC I was looking at because obviously I upgraded to 5070 Ti. And I'm more than happy with it. But I was looking at it, and it's like you get the Ryzen 7 7600 X3D, which is a fantastic processor. You get 32 gig of RAM, 2 terabyte SSD. You get the 5070 Ti 1300. That's a fucking banger of a PC.
Yes,
That's
it
more
is.
powerful than the consoles, and it's not exactly breaking the bank. Like 1300 is a pretty good price.
It's not bad.
Well, don't forget that doesn't include monitor, keyboard, mouse, a couple other accessories.
I mean, but then again, it's like
I hear you, but it's funny. We always talk. Yes, well, I would say in 2026, it's fair to say that a TV's in households much like a refrigerator. I mean, I have not walked into anyone's home and been like, there's something missing here. TV.
Probably already.
You know what I mean?
You probably already got a monitor and whatnot. Anyway,
there's something not right about this family room. What is missing here? Oh, that's right.
Well, to be fair, if you're looking for a PC, you probably already got.
You might have. I would say.
Already have one.
I think it's fair to say that you'd have a monitor, but I would say a monitor that you'd want the output that those specs you just put out there, Death Singer. Maybe not to that. Like a lot of people may have a 1080p monitor laying around from work, etc., but they probably don't have a 240 hertz 1440p monitor just hanging around.
Well, I mean, to be fair, you could pick up 144 1440p 144 hertz monitors, and you could pick them up for like a really good one. You could pick it up for, let's say you get the Alienware one. You could pick it up for. Let me have a look. It is
just curious.
You said a 1440p monitor for the Alienware 5080?
No, Alienware 34 curved QD OLED curved monitor, 165 hertz. And it's 4040p, of course, but obviously it's an OLED, so you still get that, and it's Alienware. And you could pick it up for. It depends on what model you want. Between 300 and 400.
Okay.
So, I mean,
no, I'm not saying those are awful prices.
That's actually good for
I'm not saying that's awful.
OLED.
Yeah, I get it.
I get it. Bad for an OLED.
No, it's really not. It's really not.
And bear in mind, when you buy a PC, are you planning to game at 4K? Because if you're not planning to game at 4K, do you really need a 4K monitor, or could you just get by with 1440p?
By the way,
most people use 1440p.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. I got a 1440p
OLED monitor, and I love it. It's MSI. It's freaking fantastic.
Exactly.
Beautiful.
I got an MSI monitor as well, and it does all the bells.
I'm an Asus snob. Apparently, I have 3 Asus monitors. That's what I love. These things, I love them.
I use my LG OLED TV.
Oh, there you go.
There we go. Yeah,
Lots of people do that. Yeah.
I have a 65-inch. I'm just like,
might as well, Brap. You might as well.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't blame you one
bit. If you already
bit.
have a TV, so you can pick up a nice 5070 Ti PC, 1300, drop that, and you're still getting banger performance. Like,
hey, Deathsinger, let me ask you a question. So that Alienware I mentioned to you, that 5080 for 21, I think it's 2100. Let me see here. I'm sorry. Give me a sec. I mean, to hijack the show here, Mooch.
That's all right.
Yeah, it's about $2,200. What do you think? I don't think that's a bad deal. Intel Core Ultra 9, 285K processor, 32 gigs of. It does have DDR5 the 5200 RAM, which.
What's the card in it, Brap?
The 5080 RTX.
Yeah, that's. I'm not a judge on that,
for
but
5080. Me personally, I wouldn't buy it because it's Intel, and I'm an AMD fanboy when it comes to CPUs.
I would prefer AMD. I'm with you, Deathsinger. I mean, I have an Intel now, but I would prefer. My previous build was AMD.
Ryzen all the way. In Ryzen we trust.
So let's get into. We talked consoles and specs. I want to talk about games here, and just a quick shout out to Glinser. He says sounds like next gen will be PS6 versus Switch 3. The end. Listen, we've all kind of alluded to that. We'll see what happens with the community and how things are presented when Helix gets a little bit more information. Glinser. But I guess you could say that for strictly consoles, that would be a defining moment right there. The Gaming Ledger says, Deathsinger, an entry-level PC, ? No anti-cheat? So he's calling you out on maybe another cost, another expenditure.
Well, the thing is, it's Linux, right? So a lot of multiplayer games won't even run on it. Like Fortnite won't run on it. Call of Duty won't run on it.
That's right.
Destiny 2 won't run on it because they all use their own proprietary cheat.
You can put Windows on it and run those games.
I mean, if they allow you to sideload Windows, if they do, then it's a banger. If they just keep it Linux, then I mean, it is what it is at that point.
So let's talk about this. Let's turn our attention real quick to something very interesting, because this next conversation isn't just about a particular game, because when you talk about we're going to talk about the game, but then we need to talk about all the things that kind of go with it and a couple of variables that I'm shocked no one's really talking about too, and that is Crimson Desert. I'm going to assume, and this always gets me in trouble, that a lot of people on this panel are probably getting Crimson Desert. Deathsinger, I know you already have it.
Game of the year already.
You already have it pre-downloaded. Yep. I know. I understand this.
Game of the year already.
There it is, folks. You've heard it here first. Deathsinger, thank you for that. But what do you guys think? Fonz, are you getting Crimson Desert? Brap, Nib, are you guys all in?
100%.
Yeah. I mean, did you hear Digital Foundry talk about it? I don't mean.
I did. That was part of the conversation, so you can definitely bring that up. Sure.
So the reason I bring it up is because, again, not looking at it technically, PS5 Pro wise, he actually said in terms of the gameplay side of things, it's the most ambitious and enjoyable he's found, or something along those lines, an open world game since Red Dead Redemption 2 and Breath of the Wild. That's pretty big.
It is.
I've heard other people also say that the game is, the exploration aspect is more akin to Elden Ring than it is, say, a Ubisoft title or something. So
so the way
it's got my attention big time. I've been awaiting this game. It's one of my games of this year, besides GTA 6, of course.
Right.
But yeah, this game, I've heard several people talk about this and say that, from people that actually played 6 hours, 5 hours, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone I've listened to have said that this game is amazing in that exploration. And they've also stated that narratively, it's not really huge on that, but I'm fine with that.
I'm very okay with that.
I felt the same way with Elden Ring. It was the same way. Like, I didn't really care about the narrative in Elden Ring, but it was that exploration. It was that combat. So I'm looking forward to this. It's so highly anticipated.
So
am I allowed to spoil a tiny bit of it? It's not anything major.
It's like 300 or 400 hours long, so I don't know how much you can really spoil.
Yeah, okay, fine. So one of the things, the thing I really found fascinating about his analysis was him running through his 4 or 5 hours of gameplay. Because, we always talk about sort of like open worlds or larger games having that.
Whose gameplay was it, Nib? Whose gameplay?
Digital Foundries.
Oh, Digital Foundry. Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Yeah, so the thing with we talk about this emergent pull, right? Like you want to be organically discovering things, not just have a checklist of shit. Like, so, you know, as you're exploring, you find interesting things to do that are really appealing or compelling. And that's basically what he described. He went from like, you know, going through one village to discovering a whole ass robot city where they were at war with another people. And then through that, he went to the top of this mountain, had a big war, and that led him on this like mountain trail to this whole other area, and then to the ocean. And then through that, he found like a town or village or some shit. Like, I can't remember the specifics, but the point is, like, the 4 or 5 hours that he was describing, there was so much interesting and really dynamic things. Oh, that's another thing. He went to sleep or something, and he fell off a cliff or some shit, and he landed in this area and found a whole ass circus. With like crowds of people gathering and paying money and all this other shit. And he was saying it felt like a living, breathing circus.
Wow.
And it was just, again, he just found it like on the fly, and that is the kind of thing that I thought the game wouldn't have.
That's so Elden Ring like and Red Dead 2 like, because that's the exact kind of stuff that I was doing in those games. I cannot wait, because this is what I love, these big open worlds with so much to do, and more importantly, with so much exploration. Like that, man, I'm really hyped for this game. Just unbelievably hyped.
Like it ticks every box, because as I said last week, it threw everything I enjoy and it threw it all into one game and was like, this is built for you. Because, like, being able to ride a fucking dragon is cool as shit. I always loved that in Skyrim when you were able to ride the dragon. I thought that was the coolest ass thing ever, right? And then it's like, yo, you could ride a dragon. Oh, by the way, you could pilot a mech. I'm like, well, I like mechs. I like dragons. Cool. I like fantasy. I love going out and exploring. Like, the biggest part of, like, a Baldur's Gate 3 and other games, like these big RPGs, Witcher 3, is I like to just go, let me run this way and see what I find. And I like it when they reward a player for running this direction, and who knows what the fuck you'll find. And that's stuff I enjoy. Like, just let me live in the world. Yeah, sure, there's an overarching main quest, but let me just put the brakes on that and just fuck off over here and see what I find.
So
it looks like it's some interesting things.
Yes.
And this game, even though they said it's not an RPG, it is an RPG. Let's keep it a buck. Let's keep it a whole stack. It is an RPG. It's an action RPG. But like, it's just like the just minute details. Like, I know some people thinking about hitting women in the game and whatnot, or like the whole stealing aspect, or if you accidentally run into children, everyone gets really, really mad at you if you accidentally bump into them. And I'm like, I like these kinds of little interactions to make it a bit more believable. Like, oh yeah, I'm doing this. Oh shit, I got caught. Oh, this. If you like bully vendors will just completely disappear. And I'm like, that's actually fire, because it's like, well, you're being a little bitch about it, so get punished.
So let me say this though, Dessinger. I think what you say, that listen, those things are all great, and I think that the world reacting to your responses is something that we see sometimes very slightly in games. We don't see enough, and if this game can capitalize, bravo! I tip my cap to them. But when a game is this big, there is concern for the bugs. Right, and it's not any slight on Pearl Abyss or any. This happened to Dragon's Dogma 2. It happened to a lot of games. Fonz, the only thing I guess I could say is, like you said, let's leave Rockstar out of it. I think Red Dead Redemption 2 launched pretty good. I don't remember a lot of stuff.
Yeah, no, it launched great.
I thought it launched pretty good. I didn't have any problems with it, but I don't know. I know maybe PC did when I don't know if it launched on there, if they had a problem with it or what the situation was. But I will say this. Are you guys worried a bit about the magnitude, the scope of this game?
Yes.
And the fact that it may be very buggy in certain locations, because that can take you, as much as Dessinger gave a plenty of examples that immersed you, something like that can take you out of a game.
It can, but it depends on how and what and where. Like, if it's a frame stutter, you could deal with that or whatever. But if it's like an NPC just disappearing when you're trying to complete a quest, that could be an annoying as shit, right? But from what we've seen so far, in terms of bugs, there hasn't been too much of that. So until they actually post the reviews, when we actually get the reviews, not the previews, then we can actually, see what the game is made of. But until then, I'm not particularly worried because the game looks really, really fucking optimized. Like, they put a lot of hard work into this game.
It
and
looks
I
like
think
they
it's
did,
not
yeah.
going to be as buggy as like a Starfield or something. I don't think it's going to be that.
And to that point, imagine how ambitious this game is, right? Like, draw distance, scale, systems up the wazoo. And even Digital Foundry's PS5 Pro test, they were saying, like, it actually holds 60 frames per second the majority of the time.
Yeah.
It's just like really extreme situations. Like his stress test, he said it was the worst example in the whole game. Was he went to the top of the mountain, but he was under-leveled. So all the enemies chased him all the way through the mountain. And at the top, there was like a wall. And that took it into like the 30s, 40s frames per second, right? But that's like such a tiny use case. Like, how often are you going to have a whole army fighting each other?
Right.
Flying enemies with, all sorts of different munitions and stuff going off and everything. If it can still do decent at that level, and on PS5 Pro, he was saying, like, if you looked at his frame rate counter, even in the most extreme situation in that example, it only dropped 1 or 2 frames from 40 frames a second in the 40 frames mode, which is higher fidelity and resolution, etc.
Yeah.
So for me, that's like golden. Like, I cannot believe they got it to that level. Imagine if this was a U5 game. That shit would be dying.
It would be a mess.
Yeah, it would be.
What they showed you was all without PSSR 2. So
exactly,
this could be so much better with PSSR 2. Pearl Abyss are a PC first company, though. They've had tons of MMOs and stuff. This Korean team, they build for PC, and I think that the PC version is going to be really solid, for sure. Because what I'm already seeing of the Pro, even with PSSR 1, it still looked amazing.
It looks very good. Yeah.
And the performance wasn't bad. I wouldn't call it bad at all, especially for even Digital Foundry themselves were saying, for what this is, the big world, like the scope of it, this is running really well. They were praising the performance, actually. So I don't have an issue with anything that I've seen there. But I will say this, though. If you go back and look at their footage of the game, there was things that I was seeing in the background, way off into the distance and in the skies that I've never seen in any other footage. But it was so far away, I couldn't make out what the things were. But let me tell you, I'm excited. Like, there's stuff there's stuff here that we have no idea what's there. And when they finally reveal themselves, it's going to be epic. Like, it's stuff like that I'm seeing way in the background of the
well, the thing is, it's like a lot of it hasn't been, the map's so big, a lot of people haven't explored even like 20% of it. But then, speaking on their PC company first, you could tell, right? Because their lowest spec is a 1060. That's a 10-year-old fucking card, right? They managed to get this game running on a 1060. Like, do you understand how absolutely insane that is? The game of this scope to run on a 1060, that's 10 years old now, and they still managed to cater to that audience. That shows you they're a PC company first, and they actually put the time and effort in. And if I wanted to go native 4K 60 Ultra, 5070 Ti, which is what I got, and I have a better CPU than the Ryzen 7 7700X because I have the X3D. It's like, this game is going to perform so fucking well, and I am super excited. Like, I have a feeling this is going to just be an unexpected banger for a lot of people. And even if you're on a weaker PC, like a 1660 or a 2080, like, you could still enjoy this game for what it is. So,
well,
I don't want to, like, I know some of the Americans might.
Really quick to the point that you were making, Mooch, earlier about the possibility of bugs.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say that I played Cyberpunk 2077 day one on a Series X.
Yep.
Bugs be damned. And I had a great time with that, and it didn't pull me out.
So somebody just said, Mooch, you have to understand in the chat. They're like, Mooch, you have to understand a game of this magnitude, this scale, bugs are the character of it. So I was like, well,
here we go. Bethesda
here we go.
again, right?
Yeah, here we go. The Bethesda stick.
And I'm like, listen,
Not the Bethesda charm. We're not doing that.
Yeah, some of the you can sprinkle in a little bit of that charm, but if it's over a certain amount, it becomes very annoying. So I do agree. Go ahead, Nib. You were going to say something.
Yeah, no, I was going to say like, okay, I get like Western engines and studios have like quite a stronghold on the market, and some people are quite, they don't want trying to encroach on the gaming sphere or whatever. But I have to say, like, this, was it called Black something engine, Black Bear engine or something like that? I just hope one of these Chinese studios or publishers or whatever actually mass market this engine for other games to use, because cannot, in this day and age, it can't just be proprietary or Unreal Engine 5. And even, what's it called, the Crytek engine, like CryEngine, it's like almost at the end of its tether now. It's not receiving support properly, etc., etc. And it's like we can't just be Unreal 5, man. Like wherever this engine is, let them bring it to the mass market. Let us have better open world games with better optimization and better frame rates. Like, can you imagine 60 frames per second with level of...
Well, the thing is, it takes a lot of money to make your own engine, but then you also have to maintain it and update it. Plus, also, as a lot of devs have pointed out, these bespoke engines that they run, like, for example, the Gorilla engine and whatnot, and these kinds of engines...
Snowdrop is another good one.
Snowdrop.
Yes.
Thing is, it's like, you have to relearn how to optimize for these specific engines. Unreal is a universal engine, so you could go from one job to another, and if it's an Unreal Engine 5 game you're working on, and then you get a new job, and they're working on Unreal, you know exactly, you hit the ground and you're running. Whereas if you go from Unreal Engine 5 to Snowdrop, you have to learn how Snowdrop does stuff, because it's not going to be the same as Unreal Engine. So you have to relearn shit you have to do. So contractors, for example, working on proprietary engines, it's more work for them. So I could see why more people would want to learn Unreal, because more people are using Unreal, even though it's a dog shit engine.
But that's what I mean, because when you hear the docs on like people using it, even for example, like, because PlayStation is a little bit more open talking about the development side of things at SIGGRAPH and stuff than a lot of other studios. I remember like the Days Gone developers talking about it. Like, they had to create this whole several month-long process just to build a motorbike, because Unreal Engine at the time couldn't do motorbikes. Something to do with like the physics of it and stuff. Like, it just wasn't possible. They had to do this whole thing, bring in a team and basically adapt Unreal to have custom aspects to the engine just to be able to do that. And I just think, imagine how much time and money was done on that. And then you got something like Crimson Desert. Again, I don't know how it will stuff, but motherfucker's turning into a robot, and then he's flying, and then he's got dragons, and he's got this, and it's just like they threw everything at the kids.
To be fair, it's like Fable is running on the Forza Tech engine. Now, this is an engine used for racing games, but it seems to be doing pretty well. Like, they're using their own engine, and they're like, well, not only can it be used for racing games, but we've customized our own engine. Which takes time.
I heard it was a big hassle for that team to create Fable within that engine.
Exactly. It's because you're trying to use you have to customize it. And again, this takes time and money. That's why a lot of people don't have their own proprietary engine, because it takes time and money.
Yeah. But the ones we do have out there, I want them to keep using them instead of adopting UE5, because we're seeing some companies just leaving theirs behind and they're moving forward with UE5. I mean, Witcher is one of those studios.
Yeah, that's right.
It's kind of sad to see that.
It is sad. I'm actually sad about that.
Yeah.
To be fair, they should have kept their own engine, and it pisses me off that they went to Unreal Engine 5, because I now assume Witcher 4 is going to run not the best, and Witcher 3 had its issues when it initially launched, but like their own engine is really, really fucking good, so it puzzles me. Maybe they made a deal with Epic over the Unreal Engine, was like, yo, you want to use this engine? And I don't know. It's really weird. Maybe they just gave up on their own engine because they didn't want to work on their own engine anymore.
See,
Decima
is a great engine too.
It is a great engine.
Exactly,
So one of the things, I know everyone's been kind of, and I don't mean this on the panel. I mean the industry's been glazing this game. It's unbelievable. I gotta say though, one of the things, and shout out to BG. BG said this on X today. I thought it was funny. He said it kind of looks like, I don't know if he said Skyrim, but he said meets like Just Cause, because in the game Just Cause you could do like anything your heart desires. Like this game shows you on a dragon, and then you're on a horse and buggy, and then you're on a horse, then you're running, then you're on a jetpack, and then you're flying through the air, then you have a cape, and it's like, to me, don't get me wrong, it's on them to build this story in this world that shows our character has all that power, and I've got no spoilers on it, so I still fully believe that this dev team can do that immersion for us. But do you guys see I'm just going into this with years of the experience we all have with these games that we've played. And like Just Cause was a lot of fun if you just want to go into a huge open sandbox and do crazy things and attach a million different weapons and send them out. And there's so many different things. You can fly in it. You can have jetpacks. And this game does all that. And I hope it does it so much better. But is there any weariness or a little bit of like, this could be like the medieval times Just Cause? Anybody think of it that right? You know what I mean?
No. I don't think it's gonna be that. Like Just Cause has its own fucking issues.
It does.
It was a fun concept, but it ran like ass.
Right.
The thing is, like this, I think I haven't been excited about this expansive world since something like Skyrim. Right. Where you just pick a direction, run, and learn what you discover, and it's exciting because I want to be immersed into it, and I don't think any of that like Just Cause-ness is going to affect this game. I think they've actually done a really fucking good job, and I think the story isn't going to be anything spectacular. I don't think it's going to be like a 10 out of 10 like ultra story, like I don't know, let me pick a contemporary RPG like a Cyberpunk or a Baldur's Gate or something.
I don't even think the story needs to. I don't even think it needs a great story. I had a great time with Dragon's Dogma 2, and I didn't think the story was all that great. I had a great time with Elden Ring, and Elden Ring's my favorite game of all time, and it doesn't really have much of a story.
It does have a story. It does have a story.
It does, but it's not. You got to
read a lot.
You got to read a lot. Exactly. So it doesn't just spill out everything for you. You're not going into dialogue wheels and stuff. So you don't need that. But what you do need is a fun game. That's it.
Do you mind if I ask what your rest of your top 5 are? I'm really curious by that.
I love the Red Dead Redemption series. That would be in my second place.
Hey, Fonz, real quick, I don't mean to interrupt, but like speaking of Red Dead Redemption, I actually went back, played Red Dead Redemption this past holiday, and then jumped right into Red Dead Redemption 2. And what an experience doing that.
That's awesome, right?
Yeah, I didn't have the opportunity to do that because obviously, the 10-year, 8-year, whatever gap between 1 and 2. But it was a different experience coming off of 1 than jumping right into 2. And 2's, just one of my favorite games of all time. Yeah.
Oh
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yes.
No, the reason I ask, I love that he answered that because sometimes I feel like there's a pessimistic thing where like I find a lot of gamers, they're so enamored by nostalgia they can't enjoy what is current, and that always really disappoints me because I personally feel that gaming is evolving right with time, like mechanically, visually, in terms of writing, in terms of cinematics, all these other things. Like it is evolving, and some people, I'm guilty of it as well. Like Final Fantasy VII is my favorite game of all time on the PS1, and it's like fucking. How long ago did I play that? Like when is a new game going to be my? So I love the fact that you've said current games or newer games.
Also, like 2. I love The Last of Us Part 1.
There we go.
Great game.
I don't like
great game. Yeah.
Story.
So to me, that shows he is not stuck in the past. He's able to.
But then again, in my top 10, I've got games like Mass Effect, the trilogy. I've got freaking. There's so many good Halo 1.
Well, to Fonz's point, like a lot of modern games, like Baldur's Gate 3 entered my top 5.
Baldur's Gate 3 is in my top 10.
And Expedition 33 also entered my top 10.
Expedition 33 is incredible.
So did Kingdom Come Deliverance 2.
Such a good game, man.
But the thing is,
God bless you guys.
The thing is, my number one will always be Chrono Trigger because that's so
where's
unique.
Baldur's Gate 3?
Baldur's Gate 3 is my third.
Oh, did you say that already? Maybe I missed it.
Yeah. Baldur's Gate 3.
I just honestly, I am all alone on this island.
Baldur's Gate 3 Mooch is incredible.
You guys should get like a Purple Heart for playing Kingdom Come Deliverance. I don't know how you guys do that.
Dude, Kingdom Come Deliverance too. Let me tell you, Mooch. I'll tell you.
Oof.
The combat, it takes time to get used to, but once you get used to it, it's actually pretty fun. But what I love about Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, especially the second one, the first one, I liked it as well. But the second one, the story was so good. And by the end of it, and this may be hyperbolic to some people, but I'm not kidding when I say this, the ending was the most satisfying ending I've ever had in a video game.
Really?
Just
it's so
the
good.
way the story came together, the way all the characters came.
Fonz.
Man, I was just like, at the end of it, I sat there with my controller down, and I was just like, this was an incredible experience.
How long did it take? How long was your run through, Fonz?
70 something, almost 80.
Yeah, that's about right. That's about right.
Okay.
The thing is, it's like Chrono Trigger will always be my number one, but that's because that was a dream team of developers, right? You had Yuji, the creator of Dragon Quest.
Is that a little? But that singer, is that a little nostalgia coming through?
No, but it will always be number one because that was a unique meeting of Toriyama, rest in peace. And it's like the creator of the Final Fantasy, Square Enix, and Toriyama all coming together for one game is just something that'll never happen again. So he'll always be number one. But it's like number two will always be KOTOR, because KOTOR, back in the day, there is no game like KOTOR. KOTOR was BioWare peak performance. You want to talk about BioWare? That is peak.
What's
BioWare
the latest version of Chrono that you've played? What?
I don't know. None. Like Chrono Trigger was the only Chrono game I played, really.
Okay, no, that's fine. I'm intrigued by it. That's not a. I'm not abashed at all. I'm interested.
It's like Expedition 33 is just that's an experience that everyone should enjoy because there is just nothing like it. And then Baldur's Gate 3 is peak Western RPG, peak CRPG. That is like the golden days. It brought right back. Like everything is spot on about the game.
But how many hours you have in Baldur's Gate 3?
Well, I beat it first time and that was 90 hours, and then I did honor mode to get the unique dice. So honor mode, that's another 80 hours. Plus, I'm also helping Red Hood out on multiplayer, so that's a third campaign run through. Wow. And then I'm also doing another campaign run through, so that's probably an extra 160 to 200 hours.
Which game is that?
So Baldur's Gate 3. By the time all said and done, I'll be like 700 hours deep.
Jeez.
Yeah, I'm actually like half of that.
Brap, I saw you. You went through and you beat it on PC, then you beat it on PlayStation 5.
Yeah, that's
beat it on PC like twice.
The thing is, it's so good. You can always
I've beaten it 3 times myself.
And the replayability is so good.
Because the replayability is amazing in that game. There's really look, I played it through the whole thing 3 times, and then I started another one and stopped. But did you guys do a dirge run where you were evil?
Yes.
Oh my god,
run is fucking amazing.
You got to do it, Brap.
I'm gonna have to go back to do that.
You're such an evil asshole. And but I go with the female actress voice every time because I love it the most. But anyway, she's so freaking evil when you do a dirge run. But the thing I love about that game too is the fact that it's just well acted. Everything about it is just such quality. It's way up there on my list. Such a good game. I played it. Like I said,
did you romance
3 times? Here's the funny thing. I played
of course,
it
you lost time straight away.
First time I played through it, nobody.
Wow.
Oh wow.
Nobody. Because I was like, I'm not here to romance. I'm here to save the fucking world. So I just played the game and just kept like, even when what's his name was hitting on me and stuff, I'm like, nah, leave that shit alone. Like,
Alistair?
No, the black guy.
Will.
Because Will hits on you at a certain point, and so does all of them really do, honestly.
Well, I mean,
but I just kept denying them. But the second time, it was with Shadowheart.
Oh, Shadow Bay is number one. Like, Shadow
no,
Bay.
I disagree.
I love how you call her Shadow Bay.
She is Shadow Bay. Like, it was so the first time I booted up the game and I met her as a character, and I was like, there's a I can fix her attitude about it, and it's she's got this darkness to her, and I'm like, yo, this shit's really interesting. Like, Azale is your typical broody. It's gonna be a bit rough.
Shout out to Trey. Yeah, shout out to Treybone real quick in the chat. Treybone, he says, "Holy shit, they're talking about games." Treybone, that's how I know you don't come to this channel very often. We literally talk about every end of every show is Death Singer, This Is Your Life, and then we go through those games that he played, why he's played them, and how we play the different versions of games that we find entertaining. So Treybone, welcome back to the channel. Good to see you again. But go ahead, Death Singer.
So it's like, Azale is, if you've seen the scene, if you unlock the scene with her, it's a lot of biting and claw marks and stuff, and it is what it is. Githyanki are that kind of people. But it's like, obviously I've romanced everyone but the dudes.
So funny, Death Singer.
I'm sorry, I can't romance the dudes. I just can't romance.
You're gonna get...
He goes from... Who did you romance to buying and fucking... Probably he's going to talk about bondage in some game next.
Wait, haven't you seen the scene with Azale? When you get down to business?
She's aggressive.
Yeah. Like, she is animalistic, but that's to get Yankee people.
I wondered why you said you keep your sock drawer next to your computer.
Oh, wow.
Never thought about it.
Oh, wow. No, but like, obviously... I even did the bear thing. Yeah, okay, laugh at it, whatever. It is what it is. It's a droid shapeshifting into a
bear thing?
Of course you did.
Yeah.
No.
Out of curiosity.
For me, my Karlach was the best. I did Karlach at the third.
Karlach never really did it
all
for me.
All the way.
Karlach.
100%.
That's a bit strange. I mean, so you like it? I mean,
I think her character was better fleshed out than Shadowheart's.
Yeah, she's actually interesting and fun.
Yeah, I mean, but
she'd be a fun time.
Yeah, but although I will say you need to make sure you pack a fire resistance potion.
Yes.
Yes.
Here's
couple of fire resistance
while you guys are discussing this, I'm making a painting right now, and it's you guys are all hanging out, and Mooch is on the island way over there. I have no idea.
There's
Karlach and Shadow Bay.
I have no idea. Although I will say, between Brap, Death Singer, Nib, they have talked me into. They're like, Mooch, you really need to play this game. So I'm not saying you're wrong.
I'm telling you, it is an amazing experience.
I think you're probably right.
Honestly,
to Bob's point, the replay value in this game is unparalleled. I've never experienced anything like this.
I could literally, like, if I start a game up tonight, I can literally play through it. Like, it'll grab
really.
Me
yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
I play it with mouse and keyboard.
I'm not as big on it as these guys, but yes.
All right, thank
you literally, like, each playthrough, you'll discover something new, or like, uncover a new dialogue, or so. Like, I remember there was I was walking through the city or something, and something happened, some kind of event that didn't even happen the first time my first playthrough. And I'm like, what is this? Like, it's that kind of stuff.
And you can
that keeps drawing you back.
You can deal with enemies in totally different ways every time you play it.
Absolutely.
You can outsmart them. You can freaking just kill them on sight, and different ways of killing them. You could negotiate. You can also like use barrels of oil to freaking burn them.
So you know what? Let me.
Yeah, like my favorite build was. The thing is, there's a companion you can unlock in Act 2, but you can easily miss it if you don't do certain things. That's not.
So this is not.
Yeah.
There is a companion you can unlock in Act 2, but it's easily missable if you don't pass it.
You're talking about the one with the jail cell and.
So it's not fair for me to ask you guys this, but I will be asking Death Singer, Brap and Fonz, I'd love to have you back on in a few weeks to see what you're thinking after Crimson Desert. Do you think this game, Crimson Desert, can compete with a game like Baldur's Gate 3?
No. No. Not
at all.
No.
Wow, okay.
The thing is, but Baldur's Gate 3 is my game of the gen, right? Baldur's Gate 3 is the pinnacle of my RPG experience. Nothing will be able to top that. And as good as this game is, it's like, and what it does, and it has all these things, it'll never match the just pure storytelling, like D&D aspect of Baldur's Gate 3.
Yes.
It won't top the character-driven story, the interactions, the deeply personal and intimate connections you have with these characters as you go through the story. Like, it just won't be as refined as that, so it'll never match that.
I'll even go further, though, Death Singer. I love Expedition 33, but I love Baldur's Gate 3 more.
I like Baldur's Gate 3 more than Expedition 33.
I think the characters are more fleshed out. I think the world is just so much better. Like, it's just such a freaking game. It's an instant classic for me, man. Like, it'll always be in my top 10. Always.
The thing is, it's like with that, like, Crimson Desert is going to be a fantastic time. That's going to be a game of the year contender for me.
Yes, it'll be fun.
Like I can't put it on the same pedestal as a Baldur's Gate 3 just because it doesn't do what Baldur's Gate 3 does. So it's a bit unfair to the game. I'm giving the game a solid shake for what it is. I'm not trying to compare it to a Baldur's Gate 3. So I'm just going to keep the two separate.
So anything else you guys want to say on Crimson Desert? I was going to move on to the next subject, but I do have
I was, to the question you asked.
Yes.
I think the main reason I don't think it will be up there with something like Baldur's Gate, or even, I just think it's going to be the quality of the writing and characterization.
Okay.
Because it's a different thing from making good gameplay mechanics and having like sublime writing, emotional, poignant and depth and character building and all of that stuff, right? That is like the hardest art in the world, and thousands upon thousands of games and studios tried it, but there's literally a select few upper echelon of games that have really achieved that level of storytelling, right?
Right.
And that writing. So I think because of that reason,
this may be heartbreaking for Death Singer. Death Singer, I hope you're seated and you have a seatbelt on. Bespoke says, "Hey, Death Singer, did you hear that Pearl Abyss said that Crimson Desert was heavily inspired by the studio's two favorite games, Horizon Zero Dawn and Horizon Forbidden West?"
I mean, that's perfectly fine. It doesn't look or play like any of those games, so it's fine. I don't care what you get inspired.
What if it does that, Figure?
Thing is, I don't care what you get inspired. It doesn't, though. Looking at everything.
What if it does, though? What if it does? We haven't played it yet. What if it does?
Well, to be fair, it doesn't have Aloy as a main character.
Oh.
Right? So, I mean, anything is an improvement from Aloy.
Because the main character looks so eccentric and exciting.
Right.
I mean, to be fair, probably.
Oh my god, I'm beside myself with excitement. He's so.
The thing is, though, a lot of people get inspired off different games. It doesn't mean they're going to bring that into the game. And to be fair, Crimson Desert just brings in everything that I want. So it's like, yeah, you could be inspired. Like, loads of people get inspired off different things. Like Baldur's Gate 3 was inspired off certain games. Larian were like, yo, we got inspired off the originals, which are completely different games, kind of, because that was like BioWare, peak BioWare. So, you could get inspired off things, but the game fundamentally just looks absolutely appealing to me in ways that, it's my game of the year.
Well, listen, he hasn't even turned it on yet, Fonz. Glitzer says, "What mega hype game disappointed you at release?" Glitzer, I got news. Glitzer, I don't know what Glitzer does for a living, but he has some great questions on podcasts. He should work for like Trivial Pursuit. Go ahead. What do you guys think? What is one that let you down? Would you say, Nib?
Dragon's Dogma 2.
Okay.
I enjoy it.
And Assassin's Creed Shadows. And the thing is, Assassin's Creed Shadows, I'm going to be honest, like, it's that I actually really enjoyed the first, 30, 40 hours or something like that. But it had that classic Ubisoft thing. Like, by midpoint, I was just like, fuck me, I'm so bored now. Like, why is it so repetitive? Why are they just throwing the same shit over and over? And it's just,
I'm with you on that one. Recently, it was Shadows. I couldn't wait for the game. And then when I started playing it, about 30 hours in, I was like, I'm not doing this shit anymore.
Good for you guys on the 30 hours. I think I was at 10 to 15. I was 10 to 15 when I felt that way.
I have to agree. It is Shadows because I still ain't beaten the game. I put it on the back burner because other games came out. And I'm going to be honest, I'm probably not going to... It's going to stay in the backlog for eternity because Assassin's Creed after Odyssey, like Valhalla burned me and then Shadows just destroyed it. And like Black Flag coming back is probably the best thing because that's like peak Assassin's Creed to me.
My favorite, I think.
So like a Black Flag is such a fantastic.
Also, it was with Shadows, it was the world itself. The fact that you couldn't just parkour over everything.
That's right.
In previous entries, you were able to like climb mountains, if you will, and in this one, it constantly stopped you.
Yep.
It made you want to stick to the roads. That's what they wanted you to do, and I didn't like
within the castles, etc. It was annoying as hell.
And every time I was riding down the road, it was like a Disney movie. You had deer and like bunnies and everything just running beside you, and I'm like, what? This isn't real. This wouldn't happen. Why is this happening? Yeah, it was just so annoying. After a while, I was just like, I'm done.
I will say it was better than Valhalla, but at the same time, I
disagree. I liked Valhalla so much.
No,
better.
Valhalla was such a fucking trash dumpster fire slogfest.
I liked it.
I finished it, but it
I
was.
preferred Valhalla as well, definitely.
Wow, Valhalla is such a terrible game. Like coming off Odyssey. Bear in mind, you come off Odyssey, which is a great game. Origins, Odyssey
is their best game. Yeah.
Like Odyssey is fantastic. And then you throw me into Valhalla, and I'm like, this is a downgrade in every way to me personally. And then Shadows doesn't do much better. And then I'm like, well, just give me Black Flag, and guess what? They're giving me Black Flag, so I'll take it. I'll take take
that'll also sit in your backlog forever.
No, Black Flag won't because Edward's story is fantastic.
No, I'm not down. I'm absolutely. I just think there's so many games coming out, especially as we go to the latter part of any generation. It's just hit after hit after hit. When are you going to say, "Oh, I'm going to go back and play a game that I've already beat"?
Well, the thing is, it depends when it comes out and what's around.
That's true. Like, that's true. I'm assuming we have blockbusters every month.
If you look at Crimson Desert, this is a quiet month for me, so there's plenty of room for Crimson Desert. But it's like,
see, okay, so you set me up great right there. By the way, shout out to Babor. You guys don't have to answer this. Babor asks every week. Let's summarize the story for Elden Ring, please. That's as Brap said. You have to go read and look into that one, Babor. You know that answer, but I know he's being facetious there. All right, so you said we have plenty of time in March. Listen, that's true for you, Death Singer. Not true for me, and this is a me problem. So I'm not saying this parlays to you guys, but we talked about it a little bit in the beginning of the show. I do want to ask you guys your opinions. It's a very polarizing subject, and I happen to like the game very much. I'll wait and hold my answer to the end, but I'm enjoying Marathon, and I know that Marathon's going to eat up a lot of my time besides Crimson Desert next week, right? So I'm hoping I beat have RE9 done in hours, and then I want to go for the plat. So I have a week to do that. But my point is Crimson Desert and then Marathon. Everybody, there is a sense of love growing for this game, but the amount of people I'm seeing play it, I think today it hit like 50 or 60,000 on Steam. It's not like it's catapulting up to 200,000. So, but then again, with Bungie, they have a faithful fan base that will stand by them. And this seems like they have a lot of plans here, much like Destiny, that this game will grow. I don't know how much you guys played Ark. I think I told you guys I'm at like 235 hours on Ark. The multiplayer games are kind of stealing me from some of the single player experiences, and that's shame on me. But there's only so much sand in the hourglass. So what do you guys think about Marathon overall? Not just what do you think as far as do you like it? Because you could say, that's not for me, but I think it's a good game. Or you could say, I think it's a terrible game. I'm curious where you guys are. I got to say, I've got about 10 hours into the server slam, and I'm probably about 10 or 12 hours, but I'm going to easily double that this weekend. I know I already have 2 situations set up where I'm going to be playing at least 10 to 15 hours of this game this weekend. So what do you guys think about the game overall and what its future may or may not be?
I have
sorry.
not.
Sorry. I just woke up thinking about Marathon. My bad.
Well,
there we go.
you know,
There we go.
Death Singer, I will say this: you always say that you play a lot of multiplayer games.
Death Singer, did you play Destiny 1 and 2?
Yeah, and I
Did you play Halo?
Yeah.
Oh, so when it comes to PlayStation, you hate them now?
No, I just don't like Marathon. Marathon, the server slam.
It's an
put me off.
extraction shooter.
No, like you have to understand. Like the server slam put me completely off because the ammo economy was so dog shit.
They've changed that now, thankfully.
It put a lot of people off.
They have changed it, but it's like, am I gonna drop my circle of multiplayer games I have going on now? Bear in mind.
By the way, wait a minute. To be Death Singers, if I may use one of your, to be fair, one of your multiplayer game rotations is World of Tanks. You should drop that like a bad habit.
Jesus.
Well, I can't drop
Please.
that because it's just so comfort and it's such a fantastic game to me. But it's like I can't drop that game in favor of Marathon. I even gave up on Destiny 2 after Witch Queen. Shout out to Luca. We played through the Witch Queen campaign and it was great. And then afterwards they fucked up and I was like, I'm done with Destiny 2 at this point. Uninstalled, never return into the game. Fuck Bungie. And it's like I wanted Marathon to work, but at the same time I'm looking at it and I'm like, Arc Raiders ate your lunch, and I don't think you're gonna have a stable player base. But if I really want to play an extraction shooter, I would either play Arc Raiders or I would play Escape from Tarkov. Like, they're my two choices above Marathon.
Yeah, I just don't like the aesthetic in Marathon. I just find it unpleasing.
I love the sci-fi.
I don't like the look of it at all. But it's not even just that for me. I'm not a big extraction shooter, and Arc for me was a rarity. I put in about 153 hours in Arc, and this is coming from a guy who doesn't really play multiplayer anymore. Because I quit Destiny and stuff, years ago. It was just a big time sink. But I will say that I know Bungie has the best gunplay out there, in my opinion.
Have you tried it, Fonz?
No, I haven't. But I did have a couple of really close friends that played the Server Slam, hated it, but then they bought it anyway, and they love it.
I was going to say, a lot of people say they hated it, Fonz, and they're saying it because it was, especially during the Server Slam, it was cool to say they hated it. But nobody hates something and drops $40 out of their wallet. So
yeah, no,
I don't know who those folks are, and that's fine. But that doesn't, you know what I mean? So it doesn't hold water.
But I'm telling you, especially one of them just gushes about it daily, and he says it's so different from the Server Slam. Like when he was playing the Server Slam, he didn't come into contact with a lot of people.
Okay,
they weren't talking.
Okay,
stuff like that.
That's fair. That's fair.
When it came to the the game launch, he said it's just a night and day difference. It was so much better.
There's a lot more interaction with people now, for sure. By the way, for sure.
But I still, I even stopped playing Arc at this point. Like I had my fill. I had 153 hours. Really enjoyed my time with it. But I'm just like, okay, I'm done. I'm going back to the single player games and trying to get stuff done before Crimson Desert. But about the do I expect it to continue or fail or something? Look, this is Bungie. This is not just a fly-by-night freaking brand new developer outfit. I think yes, it's slowly decreasing every day. You're seeing less and less players, but I'm just looking at like Steam charts. I'm sure we don't know the numbers from PlayStation. We don't know the numbers there exactly. So I think even with 50,000, 60,000, they're doing well. It's not bad. I see this going long term. I think more people will start to get more interested in it as they make new content for it and push out new updates. I think more people will jump on it because I've even seen big streamers talk about how they love playing the game, but they just don't play it in front of their audience because their audience don't like to watch them play it. So, but they love it. Like people like Shroud, the Burnt Peanut, they're talking about it and saying, I really like playing that game.
Right.
And they're not getting paid to say that because they're not playing the game.
Right.
They're playing Arc. But that's
Shroud's playing Marathon, but Peanut's playing Arc, yes.
Yeah, Peanut's playing Arc, but these people actually like the game. So I mean, I think it's this stigma, right? There's a stigma around the game. People just wanted to see it fail.
Right.
So there's going to be a lot of people talking crap. But I think slowly but surely, people that do like extraction shooters, they'll start playing the game. They'll migrate.
I think people will start to migrate over. I think it's one of those games that's not going to have the 200,000 people concurrently going, but I think it'll hold and I think it will grow with time. Plus, they're doing something different. They're adding their fingerprint to it, which is like they're putting their version of like raids into the game in a few weeks, right? They're going to have areas of the map you can only reach if you've done certain things. These are things to encourage you to play. The other thing that they're doing that I like better than Ark is when I got great weapons like the volcano or the hull cracker, right? Or the Venator, like those types of guns I would hoard forever, right? And I would use them only when I knew we were going to take on something big, right?
That's true. That's what I would do.
But the thing I love about, and a lot of people don't like this, I do. What they're doing is every single new season in Marathon, you're wiped. They take your guns. So it encouraged, like I'm going out now, Fonz, and I'm using any sick gun I get. And I'm finding that I'm having so much more fun because I am using top tier weapons where before I was hoarding them because I was like, oh, I don't want to lose this. Oh, I don't want to lose this. Oh, I don't want to lose. And it's like now I get a gun, and if it's a blue or a purple, I'm out there and I'm lighting it up right now, and it's a blast. And there's levels of, you guys are talking about Baldur's Gate 3, and you guys are talking about Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, and there's so much lore and understanding the characters, right? There's depth. Let me use the word depth. In an extraction shooter, as we know from games like, Helldivers 2 and Ark, it's not that deep, right? It's just not that deep. This game, you've got to know what your cores do. The cores are for certain shells. What are the different shells' specialties? How do you start to master them? Where are they better suited? On what map? If you're playing solo, the Rook character alone has different depths and abilities to be able to sneak in, do things, kind of just manifest and do different things in there to actually make it so that, right, there's so much more going on. Then there's the lore. Then there's the factions. And you have to do, in the quest, don't get me wrong, some of the quests are just as ridiculous as Ark. Run over, activate a computer, walk away. I get it. I'm not defending everything. Again, not perfect. But if you like the extraction shooters, I have, like I said, 235 hours in Ark. I wanted something more. This is giving me that extraction shooter, but also giving me first person, which I like. I like a little bit better for this. I know a lot of people love third person, and I loved it for Ark. I did, but I'm a little burnt out on that. So going back to first person is refreshing. And Bungie never misses with their mechanics. Yeah. And like I say, in the world, now I understand some people might not like the world, but I'm telling you, once you play the game and you start to see the way that they use the colors and they use the way Bungie creates, it is pretty fucking cool. And it's not perfect. I still think they need to work on their sound. I want to hear more rain. I want to hear more wind, the same way we did in Ark. I want to hear footsteps. Right? I want to hear footsteps better, right?
Mooch, to your point, it reminds me more of like Tarkov than an Ark Raiders, because Tarkov has a very rich narrative-driven. It's a narrative-driven extraction shooter. Because essentially, political scandal, right? And then private military contractors, two different ones, and local scavengers, all battle for control with everyone's ultimate goal to uncover the truth about the terror group corporation and escape Tarkov. That's why it's called Escape from Tarkov, right? So everyone's battling to find out the truth behind it. So there's a lot of stuff you have to do to like, why are these people fighting? Because all these different, it's essentially a war between all these different factions, but it's a forced war by this group, this terror group, and they are deliberately doing it. And what's the reason why? And then eventually it's escape from the city, right? Because you want to get out of the loop. And so it's heavily narrative driven like that. So Marathon might be more akin to that. But also when you're talking about depth and mechanics, like what shells and whatnot, like in Tarkov, you have different kinds of bullets. Like if players will be wearing top tier body armor, right? So normal bullets won't do anything. You need armor piercing bullets. You need to go find these top tier meta bullets to kill other players because, realistically, if you're shooting someone with body armor and you don't have an armor piercing bullet, it makes sense the bullet isn't going to kill them, right? It's going to do reduced damage and everything. Like you're not going to win the fight. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot more realistic aspects, and I think this game Marathon is more into Tarkov than an Arc Raiders. Arc Raiders is incredibly casual.
Yes.
Tarkov is narrative driven, hardcore, and I think Marathon straddles the line between Arc Raiders and Tarkov.
I can ride along with that, Singer. I really can. I think
Mooch, I do have a question for you actually.
Yeah.
Like everyone I've spoken to, I'm not even joking, everyone said that the final game is much better than the Server Slam.
Yes.
What exactly is it about the game that is so much more compelling than the Server Slam?
So I was going to correct Fonz, but then he said one thing that I agreed with him. So the one thing I do not think, if you didn't like the Server Slam, I'm not sure how you just fell in love with it the next day. It's basically the same game. What they did was
not so much hate love, but I had some people like even Gaz. Gaz was lukewarm on it.
Yep.
And now
Gaz was the one I was referring to as the one guy that loves it now.
Yeah, Gaz actually, shout out to Gaz. He showed up to mine, Blaze's, and Lazy's stream. And the thing about it is so like my thing is this. I don't think there was a tremendous difference. Do I think that Bungie took the response from people saying, hey, we didn't see a lot of interaction with other players? This didn't feel like it was a living world. I think they took that seriously. So do I think they upped the ante there? Yes. As far as more ammo and all that stuff, that came in like patch 1.04 or whatever they called this last one that came through. That was now, right? That was this week. So that wasn't a difference between release and Server Slam. I don't have a lot to tell you, Nib, that there was a tremendous leap from the Server Slam to the day of launch, besides the fact that maybe they put either another team into the world or they made interaction or they spawned people closer. I don't know what they did there.
More action. But that's what Gaz said as well.
More action.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what Gaz was telling me because
I'll buy that. That I totally buy into. And there was very little. I remember we extracted 3 or 4 times during the Server Slam, and we're like, I didn't even see anybody. And that doesn't happen anymore, or very rarely.
By the way, I've got to run. I've got dinner plans.
No problem, Fonz. Fonz, you said 3 hours. I was like, I got to max 3 hours here, right, Fonz? We got to go 3.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
For sure.
Great to have you, Fonz.
I appreciate you.
Yes, absolutely, buddy. Great to have you. Let everybody know where they can find you too, Fonz.
Always a pleasure.
First time I've been in a podcast with them, I think.
That's what we do here on CrossFire. We keep bringing new people in weekly. We got to get more people in here too. So Fonz, let people.
They're definitely not the first time for me with Fonz.
No.
Yeah, we used to be on Luca's podcast.
Yep.
That's right. Shout out to Luca.
Indeed.
Shout out to Luca. I miss her.
Yeah, I miss her too.
So do I. I miss her every day.
Yeah, you can find me at Fonz Gaming here on YouTube. I do a podcast every Tuesday, 4 p.m. West Coast time. 7 p.m. East Coast on my channel, Games Talk Live. I do it with Hargeet. You guys may know Hargeet, very anti-PlayStation. That's just the way he is. And I kind of like it because we get into some debates sometimes, and it's kind of fun.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I like it that way because I hate when I go to podcasts and I just hear nothing but, yeah, you're right. You know what? Yeah, I agree.
I've been saying that for years, Fonz, but sometimes
you gotta find some people sometimes that you have a little argument with.
That's right. That's correct.
So, it keeps it lively, keeps it fun. But yeah, so you can find me there, and I appreciate everybody on the panel. Thank you for having me, and I'll definitely come back after Crimson Desert, and we can talk about it.
That sounds like a plan, Fonz.
Who knows? I might hate it.
Who might?
Like, that's what nobody actually really knows right now. I mean, this game is massive, so there's going to be so much to talk about for sure.
Agreed. Fonz, looking forward to your return again, buddy. Have a great night. Appreciate you being here, and guys, go over and check out Fonz. Outstanding, Fonz. Thanks for being here for the full 3 hours ting, buddy.
Are you on Twitter or X?
Yes, of course he is.
Gaming.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I've been there for a while. I've been around the block.
Fonz, put your info in the CrossFire DM. Everyone can follow you that way. That'd be great.
Yeah. I'll for sure do that. Thank you.
All right, I appreciate it, Fonz. So yeah, Fonz is on West Coast time too. So for him, it's 7:00. So apparently, he's doing a great 7:00 is the time to eat dinner. By the way, I totally agree with that. So somebody in the chat said, "Hey, Mooch, are you playing Call of Duty?" I just want to say this real quick, so you guys know, and you guys have noticed, I haven't had any footage up for a while. Been playing a lot of Arc, a lot of Marathon, and I am. Shout out to James Vincent, who I believe is listening to the show. He wrote me a few times on the side here, and he said we're going back to Black Ops Royale tomorrow. So we're going to be playing some of that. I will be playing predominantly Marathon, probably Saturday and Sunday. But Friday, I do plan when I get home to play some Black Ops Royale. I like to see what they're doing. I think they had a major problem with the how, or I shouldn't say problem. They have a major issue with how they're only doing quads. They don't have trios or duos for this. They said that they only want to start with quads. I think that's a huge mistake. But yeah, it is what it is. So yeah, I can't remember who said it. Somebody had asked me, Mooch, you playing Call of Duty anymore? I am, but going back this weekend. So yeah, there's Fonz in the chat, guys. Go over and check out Fonz. Thanks for being here tonight, Fonz. But yeah, so I'm not going to keep us much longer because it's 10:00 here in New York, and lucky me, I get to get up at 5:30 in the morning. But yeah, so that singer, I know you've tried Marathon, and I know that your Discord did. I love your Discord, but I wish that sometimes I feel like the Discord talks you out of games that you would play a little longer. But
no, the thing is, like, no, it's like when I play these multiplayer games, I want to play it with friends, right?
Right, absolutely.
And it's like currently the friend circle is on like Marvel Rivals still. And currently, a lot of people, because they have they love their single player games too. So like a lot of people just split off and play their single player games and then reappear for like a multiplayer fun time and then go back to your single player games. So it's always been that kind of thing. It's just Marathon. If I wanted to play an extraction shooter right now, I'd just boot up Tarkov or something. It's just a bit more interesting to me than Marathon. But that's because I got really into Tarkov.
Yeah, but the thing about Tarkov, and don't get me wrong, when you were into it, by the way, 100% agree with you. Tarkov's a great game, but like you could just jump in, play 2 matches of Marathon, and have fun, and it's a more in depth like kind of extraction shooter, like you're saying, that singer. Whereas Tarkov, I mean, that's an hour, at least.
Oh, it is a lot more, but it's like. You also have to consider it's like
that's. I'm not saying an hour's a lot, by the way. Don't take that the wrong way. I'm just trying to say like you do have to take each. Like the reason Call of Duty always, what people used to say back in the day, nobody says this anymore. But what was great about people when Call of Duty when it was in its prime, hear me out, guys. And I'm talking about the multiplayer. People were like, "What do you love most about Call of Duty?" Well, what I like most about Call of Duty is I can pick up the controller before I go to work or on my lunch break. I can play 2, 3, 4 rounds, put the controller down, and go. Like, that's not quite what I would say Marathon or Arc Raiders is, but to an extent, it's one step or one tier up from that, but it's not Tarkov where you have to dedicate an hour and a half or longer. So, like, you can play a few rounds. There's something to that singer. You know what I mean?
But I also have to manage my time because I have multiplayer gear, like my core multiplayer games. So, like, I also have to balance how much single player do I get done versus how much multiplayer do I get done. And like a majority of the single player games I play are really long RPGs. We're talking 50 hours plus.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? So like I have to manage, like, do I get a couple of games in of League? Then do I get do my dailies on World of Tanks and then turn it off? Like Arknight's Enfield, I log on, do my dailies, then log off, right? And then I go back to my single player experience. Or if someone ats me, it's like, oh, we're jumping on golf with your friends or whatever. I'm like, yeah, sure, I'm down. Let's have a fun time with the boys. But it's like now multiplayer is more, I just keep to my circle. But that's because of time. I don't have the time for Tarkov right now, and I don't have the time for Marathon right now. I didn't have the time for Arc Raiders. Like maybe when not so many single player games release, but like this year I've been backlogged. Like it's just game after game after game. Like sure, Crimson Desert releases, but like it releases on the 19th of March. On April the 14th, Replaced releases, and then not long after, Pragmata releases. Like so that's
what I'm saying. it's hit after hit after hit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So time is a consideration.
Time is of the essence, and I agree with you. And I think maybe I need to try to enjoy what I'm enjoying with my multiplayer games. But I'm planning to play Crimson Desert. I do want to have by Crimson Desert's launch, I want to have the platinum in RE9. And then the thing is, I only have so much time, and I do want to play Marathon. Man, I got to tell you, I'm enjoying it. The same way that I had that same itch for Arc, I have that for Marathon, and I'm enjoying it. I'm not saying I'm going to put 400 hours into it. I don't know, but it is a game that I think is going to be a continued game that we all talk about. Not in detail like we have been the past couple of weeks. It'll kind of stretch out and thin out a bit, but yeah, no, I appreciate that singer. It's a little after 10 here. I'm even getting some text messages like, don't forget, you got to get up early. I got to get mad early tomorrow. It's ridiculous how early I have to get up tomorrow. These guys, by the way, shout out to Death Singer, shout out to Nib. These guys, it is currently right now 3 o'clock in the morning. Oh, wait, you guys didn't do daylight savings yet, right?
It's 2 o'clock.
Yeah, you do your daylight savings, what, next week?
I'm in the middle of a gold
When do you guys
survival run.
Wait,
I'm good. I would have been up anyway.
Well, this is true, Nib. We could have done the show till 7 in the morning. You wouldn't have cared. But I'm saying, but wait. Oh, don't you guys turn your clocks up next weekend? Or is it the weekend after?
I think it's this weekend, dude, because usually it starts at 12 UK time.
You guys are generally... Well, no, we did. We turned our clocks forward last week.
Okay.
That's why I apologize. You guys are always...
It goes forward March 29th.
Okay, I know, Nib, me and you had this conversation back in October when I pushed it back.
Right.
Right, so now we pushed ours forward here. So it's 10 after 10. Forward. It's 10 after 10 here, but it's only 10 after 1 for you guys. But
what is your game of the year so far?
Mine? Well, it's Resident Evil 9. I mean, I hate to be so. That's so cliche, though, right? It's not even. That's not. I mean, I usually don't even bring up Game of the Year, Nib, until we get to like October. Yeah. Because there's just so many more games. Soros is yet to come out, and don't get me wrong. There's people. I anticipate Soros even being better than RE9 for me, and I love RE9, by the way.
My Game of the Year currently is Mugenics.
God bless you, Deathsinger, because after you told me about that game, by the way, I understand why you like it, but I went and watched on Twitch, what's the guy's name? Carnage? Cohen Carnage, whatever.
Carnage.
Carnage. I was watching him. He's been playing that game nonstop for about 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. And, shout out to him. But like I watched that and I was like, oh, okay. This is like it's XCOM. Or
it's XCOM, but you're breeding cats.
And I get it. The cards are cool, and the level up and the power ups. It's neat. I watched it for a bit, and I was like, this is not for Mooch.
Well, I wouldn't expect it to be for you. I was just gonna end on like I have to give a big shout out to how Korea has like taken off for me personally, because when I look at the games like Crimson Desert. Stellar Blade, liked both of them. Then you have Liza P, which was a fun time. And then it's like, now you have First Berserker Kazan as well. And it's like, Korea is the repertoire of their games and quality is really, really high. So it's the same with China. And it's like, come on. And these two countries or regions make the games I really, really like, because I've always favored a lot of the Asian style of games versus the Western style of games. So it's like I'm incredibly happy Korea and China are just knocking out of the park, and they're actually making a big scene, because now it's like there's going to be a huge thing going on over there. So yeah, I just wanted to raise that because I forgot Crimson Desert was made by a by a Korean company. But yeah.
No, great. Don't get me wrong. The game, it definitely has its audience, and it's doing very well. I know it made its money back and then some. It's doing very, very well. But yeah, just a little too slow paced for me. Even a game to enjoy on Steam Deck, which you were right, by the way, Death Singer, perfectly made for Steam Deck. Let me say this. I'll give shout outs to the folks that had to leave a little bit early. This was a fantastic episode, by the way, guys. I don't know about you, but I really thoroughly enjoyed the conversation. 3 hours flew by, 3+ hours, by the way. flew by tonight. Just an outstanding panel. Great chat, by the way. One more super chat here. Babor, we will ask people again. Please summarize Elden Ring for me, please. Babor, I'm going to get you somebody that will come on the show and do that for you. I think it may take a little extra time. Shout out to D487. He says, everybody run to the hauler to try and loot mats or scan something and get out to Xville. Yes, that is the cheat guide for any extraction shooter. Shout out to D487. Appreciate it. I'll go in reverse order and say, Death Singer, thanks for being here, buddy. You had me worried, Death Singer. I'm not going to lie to you. We had people out there in the streets of England looking for you. I knew you'd be here tonight because this week it just was all about Death Singer. And I'm like, he has to be here. And when you weren't here at first, I got nervous, but I appreciate you stopping by. I'm sure life got in the way.
I was finishing an anime episode, and I was right at the end when I saw it was 12, and I was like, you know what, I'll just finish it and then join the podcast.
Well, I appreciate that, Destiny. You could have said I had a flat tire and I couldn't make it, but no, a TV show. Nonetheless.
Anime, okay. Not TV.
Well, it was on your TV, was it, or a monitor? You don't do any.
It's on my monitor.
Of course, Death Singer doesn't do anything without a monitor these days, right?
Well, no, everything is done on my monitor. Like, why do I don't need a TV? Like, I got an OLED 1440p gorgeous monitor, like full HDR. Like, what do I need? You know, I'm banging over here. I don't need like a 60-inch TV. I'm good. That's
right, Desinger. I appreciate you, buddy. Thank you for being here, Desinger. It means the world to me, though. Great. Nib, I know that you're probably level 75, at least right now on Legends, but I want to say thank you so much for being here, buddy. Love how you contribute and you bring facts to the show, and you're multi-talented because you're gaming and podcasting. I will say that is something. There is something to be said about that. It's very talented. That's a lot of talent.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah, really good. Enjoyed and speaking to Fonz as well. Like,
yes,
I have heard, but never been in a chat with him. But yeah, there's a lot going on, isn't it?
Yes, there is.
I feel like it's very unpredictable times right now. Be really, really curious to see what happens with the next generation, especially.
Very, very true. And that's why tonight is just kind of like the tip of the iceberg when it comes to this conversation for next gen. So everybody in the chat, appreciate you all for being here too. Please hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't. Your name comes up in lights. But shout out to the Wise Old Gamer. He wrote me, he said, Mooch, I couldn't make it. Wise, we look forward to your return on the show, buddy. So when you can be here, please do. TCMF, shout out to TCMF. Go over and check him out. It's TCMF Games over on YouTube. He does great work. And he's got a heck of a following. Go over and see what he's saying over there. And shout out to Brap, who had to leave early. That's Basement Radio Arcade Podcast, Wednesday nights, 9 p.m. And shout out to Crap Gamer. Crap was going to be on tonight, but he had something come up, so he'll be with us in a few weeks, hopefully. That's _Crap Gamer and Crap Gamer Reviews over on YouTube. Guys, go over and check me out on Twitch, twitch.tv, Mooch TV. Drop the O's for zeros, M00CHTV. Same as on Twitter, now X, Twitch, and YouTube. Guys, again, please, 224, you still here after 3 hours. Hit that like button, and we'll see you next Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern. Go play some games.
Shit! I forgot, Mooch. That's why I was late, because your clocks changed, so you would have started at 11 my time, not 12.
Yes.
Oh, man.
I'm sure that was it.
Wait a minute.
I'm sure that was it, and not some weird mod of some...
Yeah, I was just going to say, I like that excuse better.
No, because I saw it was 12. It was like 5:12, and I was like, oh, it'll only be 5 minutes late. It's fine. I could just finish my anime episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, your clock's changed.
I actually meant to write you a nib earlier this week because I knew this was going to be
really
a thing. I'm sorry.
I only need 5 minutes for hentai.
Yeah, I tweet out that we're going to go live in an hour. I saw Nib retweeted it. I'm like, yo, Nib is up. Yes. I was excited when he sent that out there, so I appreciate it. No worries, Death Singer. I'll write you guys next week because you guys don't put your clocks up for another week or two. But I appreciate you guys. Please, guys, hit the like button on the way out. Play some games, and we'll talk Crimson Desert all next week. We'll talk to you guys later. Peace out. Good night.
Peace. Right.